professional place. Obviously DK has requested a trade.
This is Dirt and Sprague.
Here's the pitch. Swung on, crushed on the left field line by Garver, tailing towards the line, and it is gone. It's fair and gone. Home run. Mitch Garver, 2-run blast.
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
Doncic now guarded by Karl Anthony Towns. Doncic trying to shake him. Towns staying with him. Tough shot. Oh, Luka Doncic. That's a little magic right there. Towns was right with him.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
All right, 6:02 in the Rose City. Time for Dirt and Sprague on Portland sports leader, 1080 The Fan. Good morning, happy Friday, everybody.
What is happening?
Got a fast break Friday, a flop shot Friday. We got a fastball Friday.
We do. Is it a football Friday? The Timbers playing this weekend?
Football.
A football Friday?
I don't know if the Timbers are playing this week. I assume they are.
I'd assume they got a weekend game. Shouldn't they just do like a weekend game every, Huh?
I love getting home on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, turning my TV on and yesterday was random sports day for me.
Yeah, what's going on a Thursday afternoon?
I got a lot done, and I had Big Ten women's tournament basketball on.
Ducks are done. Their season's over.
Yes, they are. Nebraska, Illinois was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then at the nighttime, once the NBA got past the stupid game.
The second half of the doubleheader was a little more entertaining.
Well, which, by the way, Hawks-Pacers was infinitely better than Sixers-Celtics.
Ended up being a really good game. Maybe TNT should have flexed out of that one. Maybe Charles Barkley should have ran about that instead of what ESPN is talking about, instead of why are we showing the Philadelphia 76ers?
I like having it on.
Yeah.
But I would also respond, it is got to be kind of exciting to be a soccer fan. I don't follow all the MLS dealings. But knowing you're only playing a couple times a week.
Yeah, that's a little bit easier to follow.
There's a little more build and buzz, I would imagine, for those fans of Saturday.
Let's go, baby.
Austin FC or whoever they're playing. That's got to be more exciting than oh, there's a game on right now.
And then another one. And then another one. Right. And then another one tomorrow. And then another one the day after that. I think we all hit that point as baseball fans when the season starts. There's a benefit of having something to watch every day, but also at times it's a little exhausting. You're like, oh, that's right. They're playing. All right, here we go. Here we go again. 3-game losing streak. Let's go watch again tomorrow.
So they play Nashville.
Okay.
And soccer.
Bring it on, Nashville.
The schedule for them is always backwards of our other pro leagues. The home team on our other pro leagues, usually the bottom team.
Throws me off every time.
It's the top team.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, they're at home this weekend. And no, they're not, you idiot. Oh, my apologies.
Yeah.
That's the way every other league works. But why would that league do it the way that every other league does it? I digress.
So they're on the road at Nashville tomorrow at 5:30. And then they play Sunday at home against the Galaxy.
Oh, we got a back-to-back.
And then they don't play until the 22nd and the 30th.
Are they doing, so is that a league game and then they're doing one of those conference or tournament championship because they do those, it's so weird with MLS.
You're barking
soccer.
up the wrong tree with that question.
Wrong people to ask.
It's literally like an NBA Cup game, but it's against another country.
Yes, so I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
I know that they do that throughout the course of the season.
CONCACAF or whatever the hell they call
Random
it.
things break into the regular season, and none of it ever really makes that much sense unless you follow it closely.
Pretty sure I just gave you the extent of my soccer knowledge.
Yeah, that's about all we got.
Yeah.
To the point of them not playing a game for 2 weeks, I'd imagine that there's something else going on in that 2 weeks, but I cannot answer that off the top of my head.
Well, the 16th
that's above
to the
my pay grade.
22nd isn't 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
I guess, wait.
If it's this weekend, right? Is that what you said? The 8th and the 9th would be their games?
Yeah, I read the schedule wrong. So it's tomorrow, and then they don't play until the 16th.
Ah, okay. I was going to say, that's a quick turnaround for soccer to make them play in Nashville and then come home and play the next night. That doesn't happen very often.
Yes, so they got a week off.
You get a week off, you play again next weekend, then a week off, you play again the next weekend. If I were the commissioner of the MLS, I would only play games on Fridays and Saturdays.
Is it really a quick turnaround, though, in 24 hours for soccer? Is it really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, don't they run 4 miles?
They run a lot.
Games?
They do.
The main reason it's a quick turnaround is because the game is in Nashville. That's a long flight home.
That's
it's a 5:30 pitch time start, a ball drop, if you will. And then face off, what do you call it?
Yeah, what do they call it?
And then you fly all the way back from the East Coast.
The kickoff?
Yeah, the kickoff. Is that what it is?
Well, they don't face off.
I think it
face
is a
off.
kickoff,
Face off.
yeah.
Team starts with a ball and they kick it
It's
in.
not a ball drop. They should have a ball drop like hockey. 2 guys in the middle, kicking each other, drop the ball in the middle of them.
Little drone.
Yeah. right there. Oh, everybody go get it. Soccer time.
Are you poo-pooing, by the way, running back-to-back days 4 miles?
I think we're getting a little bit of a poo-poo right now.
I don't think you guys can do it.
I know I
Hey,
can.
you
but I'm
guys,
talking
I'm
about a
not saying it's
professional
easy.
athlete.
I'm not over here saying I can do that.
I'm pretty
Don't lump me in with this. I'm not Joe Fisher.
I'm pretty sure high school
nothing
kids
to do with this.
could, like soccer teams, high schoolers, well, I got to play a game. The next day, they could probably turn around and play a game if they had to. You're telling me pro athletes couldn't do the same with a soccer game? Shut up.
Corn Pop coming in hot right now.
Yeah, I had
Pop's
some
ready
corn
to
pops
go.
last night.
Did you really?
I really did.
Yeah, 8 corn pops to get ready for the show.
Why do you hate the nickname?
No, dude,
get right to the
You like the cereal?
You love corn pops.
You pop like a little thing of corn?
do.
Why do you
Pop,
hate
pop,
it?
pop,
It's
pop.
perfect for you.
That's the next sound drop we need for when Schulte fills in. We need that popcorn popping sound.
Ooh.
Every time he heats up and gets going, and you could tell the blood pressure is rising. You need that pop, 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 pop.
I like
Going.
it. I'm going to just counter with this. I'm not mad if that's the sound drop that he has after he just fires off a random take about sports. What do you think about the Kendrick drop?
Oh, that's not bad.
Pop, 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 pop.
I kind of like that.
Is that what he's saying though? Is that what the words are in the song? Is it pop, pop, pop?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Sometimes
Well,
there's things I hear and I'm like, I don't know if I'm hearing this correctly.
It's not, I don't think it's pop, pop. I think it's dot, 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 dot.
Okay.
dot.
It is, yeah.
That's totally fair. I think we could pull that one for Schulte.
But maybe corn popping is better for you.
I think we need 2 examples of this. Let's try them both, and then at some point when Schulte goes on his rant, we'll play it and we'll see which one sounds and fits better as he gets all fired up.
I don't want to get into a whole thing for 35 minutes the way we did yesterday in our opening segment.
Yeah, shut up.
But my drive home yesterday, my drive home every day basically includes me going the Ross Island to McLaughlin and then going that way where I live. And yesterday, because of the weather, we had a nice little post-show breakfast burrito together.
We did.
That was fun.
We don't hang very often. People think like, oh, you guys hang out all the time? It's like, oh, we see each other 5 days a week.
Every day, man.
Consider myself lucky since I was here instead of Swag.
You were invited to the breakfast, the
I
post-show
was.
breakfast yesterday.
You were blessed.
You were
I
blessed with our
was.
presence.
I hope you thank God.
Oh, trust me, I prayed.
The autograph line was through the door,
For
was
many
out the
things.
window. Everybody was pounding on the glass. As that Sprague!
Though we should talk about the fact that Corn Pop Schulte over there just likes to waste bacon.
Schulte,
Oh, did I commit a cardinal
Yes, you
sin
did.
a
with
disappointing
breakfast yesterday?
performance of
A
you at
breakfast
breakfast
sin.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
apologize.
You went with the basic B breakfast,
Which was good.
which is totally fine. Who doesn't love a couple of eggs, some hash browns, some bacon, and some toast?
Perfect.
It hits the spot every time, no
Yep.
matter where you're at. Every breakfast joint in the world, it's an easy go-to.
Yes, it is.
Schulte gets done with his breakfast, eats the eggs, I believe. The majority of the hash browns, I think, are gone.
Yep.
Doesn't even touch his toast.
Forgot
Toast
he
is
had
just
toast.
forgot he had
Well, 'cause
toast
it's
on
on
a
another
separate plate.
plate.
It's sitting right there in front of you. You don't even touch the toast. And then the waitress comes by, delightful gal, and says, "Hey, can I clear your plate? Are you all done?" Schulte says yes, and we all look. He's got 2 pieces of untouched bacon on his plate.
No, 1.5. I had already eaten. You need to.
maybe a bite. You had to nibble out of one of the pieces of bacon.
Well, the fact that our comptroller
Not even to
was-
like offer to the rest of the table, like, hey, does anybody want a slice of bacon? I got a breakfast burrito. I didn't get any bacon with my breakfast burrito. I don't think there was any bacon in my breakfast burrito.
Yeah, you had sausage.
I could have eaten. I would have liked a piece of bacon with my breakfast burrito.
Well, let's address this. One, we did end up consuming the bacon, so it didn't go to waste.
no, we did.
I just was a little surprised you were willing to just throw it away. Like, oh yeah, you could take this and dump it.
You were getting a to-go box too. You could have put the bacon in your to-go box. Was it crispy or was it floppy?
No, it was pretty crispy.
Pretty
It
crispy?
was decent bacon.
Yeah.
You know how I operate with food. It was on his plate. It was near where he
Yeah,
ate.
you're not gonna touch
I ain't
it.
touching
Yeah.
that.
That's well, that's not.
It's not
how
a you
Southern-
problem. It's an
No,
everybody.
I know
It's
that's
around
not
your
how other
general
people
mouth.
operate here, which is fine. I
Sprague
was.
doesn't want to make out with you, man.
No,
Have your
I-
great grandfather sneeze on a chili dog when you're 9 and get back to me. Let me know how that goes.
Bet it built up your immune system.
no.
That's why you're so
Traumatizing.
healthy later in life.
It is fun.
You're
when you have
welcome.
Coworkers that act like your dad, though, and just like, I will take that. And it's like, no, that was cool. All right, I'm down.
Yeah,
Like,
Chuck
that's
was
pretty
not going to
funny.
let that bacon
No,
slide.
he was
Chuck
not.
Chuck had his eyes on that bacon. He was not going to let that thing go.
Chuck did not care that one of those pieces of bacon
No.
had your DNA all over.
No.
it.
Nope.
He was not going to stop himself from consuming that bacon after eating maybe the quickest plate of biscuits and gravy I've ever seen a human eat it.
He did consume that.
I don't know if he breathed.
I had 3 bites in my burrito, and I look over. He's done. It's over. He's got a clean plate.
He was not playing around.
All right, boys, time to go. It's like, dude, I got like 8 inches of burrito I still got to take down.
He ordered the full order of biscuits and gravy. It was 4 biscuits smothered in sausage gravy. It was gone in 2 seconds.
God, biscuits and gravy are so good.
Yeah,
I don't order them at restaurants.
You don't order? No? You just like them home cooked?
I
Homemade? Sprague makes them better than the restaurant? Is that what you're telling me? It's like a ribeye?
I don't make anything special, but what I would say is the way that I make and like the sausage gravy is probably more times than not better than what I get at restaurants.
Ooh, humble brag.
I've had some good biscuits and gravy at restaurants.
Yeah.
I've also had some people like, it's so good, and then I try it.
Ever.
So my dad put me onto this years ago. He legitimately, if he thinks about it, he'll ask for a sample of it. And they'll bring it in a little like ketchup container.
Ramekin, yeah.
And he'll spoon it out and he'll go, no, I'm good. I'm not getting that.
Really? I didn't know that was a thing you could do at restaurants.
Ask him next time.
Give me a little scoop of your biscuits and gravy.
Is there a worse breakfast item to order that ends up not being good than biscuits and gravy?
No, that's a pretty
you
bad
can't
one.
eat it. It's like,
No.
I don't want to eat this gravy.
Yeah.
Like, bad, mediocre pancake, you get through it. Egg, sausage, hash browns,
Well, with those, you usually have other options on your plate. Like if Schulte yesterday, if his eggs sucked or his hash browns were bad, well, guess what? I got toast, I got bacon, you got other options you can lean on.
Yes.
It's not an entire plate of bacon. You're not swimming in gravy.
And infinitely, the take is sausage is the best one to get in a burrito. It's not really a debate.
No.
Like, bacon's good. I love bacon. Sausage is the best thing to get in a breakfast burrito.
Yes.
Now, back to my original thing. I drive home. I go over the Ross Island. The sun is shining. I'm full. Feeling good. Had fun on the show yesterday.
Yeah.
And I look out my window, and I'm just like daydreaming. And I blacked out for maybe the 2.5 minutes I drove over the Ross Island.
It's a good bridge to black out on. There's a lot of room to maneuver. The lanes are really wide.
Well, it's like one of those, like I knew I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention.
I know exactly what you mean. I go through lights all the time, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure that was a green light.
I've had like 20-minute spans
I
where
think
I'm like,
that was a green light.
How did I get here? And it was because I kept looking at Zidell Yards.
You're damn right you did.
Imagining a baseball
damn
stadium
right you
and
did.
imagining Dirt's Diamond.
That's my guy!
Yeah.
You want to jump on my pontoon? You want to head across the river?
I mean, if I did, I'd just keep it as the name. Dirt's Diamond Pontoon Club is just the best possible name you could come up with.
$99.99 for the season. I came on my price there.
There you go.
I got a cooler full of beer. I got a charcoal grill. I'm taking you to the ball game. Let's go.
Pelican logo on the side
Pelican
of that
logo.
pontoon.
They're sponsoring the pontoon. I've
Well, they
roped them
gotta
in.
provide the beer.
Look, I haven't asked them yet, but I'm pretty sure they'd be down to sponsor my pontoon boat to take people to Major League Baseball games. They're in, man. They're in.
But yeah, I just looked down and I'm like, I don't know how it works with the space, and I know it'll be a smaller stadium, but like, God bless them if they ever make this work. And I drive on that bridge, and I look to my right,
And there's a home run going into the river.
and there's a game happening in the
You're
fourth
listening
inning.
to it on the
Yes,
radio.
Yes.
You can hear that you roll down your window. You hear the sound of the crowd. Strikeout.
Well, I would say Swag's dream is to leave here and be a play-by-play guy. He just doesn't want to say that out loud.
yes.
Baseball skews young. Or old, excuse me. So, like, having him be our Bob Uecker until he dies.
He's got this going on in the background. Oh, no. Is the drops page up going? There we go. Just this. You're
Just
driving
roll the
over
window
the
down?
Ross. Yeah.
Yep.
This is what you're hearing. You're walking over the Tillicum Bridge. Like, wow.
Come on!
Here's the situation.
It's opening day, man. It's open. The Mariners are in town, and they're going down.
Mariners have lost 9 of the last 10.
And they strike out for the 17th time.
Portland
today.
coming off their second straight World Series.
I mean, we're just a dominant organization. Why would we not be?
Fun fact, Andrew, the Mariners still haven't made the World Series, the only team in Major League Baseball history.
They already, Nashville has, and Montreal, the new Montreal has, and Portland has, and Vegas has, but not the Seattle Mariners.
Coming into the season, GM Jerry DiPoto claimed in year 18 that they were close to the 54% winning percentage.
Says stop blaming me for 1989 and 1994 and 1995
Nobody
and 1999.
was, you ass.
Don't be angry with me. This isn't my fault.
You guys keep misinterpreting my own quotes.
No.
And here's Smith at bat.
Somebody's now texting in that their neighbor has a pontoon boat. Maybe we could use it.
Hell
Dude,
yes.
hit up your neighbor. Let's go. A collection of pontoon boats for Dirt's Pontoon Private Club. What's it called? Diamond Club?
It's Dirt's Diamond Pontoon
Diamond Pontoon Club.
party pontoon
The
sounds a bit
DDPC.
The DDPC.
And I have the logo
Start
in my
collecting
head.
your pontoons for the DDPC. We'll all get in this together.
The logo is basically the Little Mermaid, but we cut her head off, and Dirt's cartoon head is on top of her body.
From my Growler Guys Growler years
Yes.
ago, you want my Beavis and Butthead head?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Or your cow. Remember we had to wrangle a cow at the
We did have to wrangle a cow.
Your picture in that one's pretty good because I think you're the cow.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think I'm wrangling you.
That sounds about right.
Which,
I mean,
you're
if
a
one
fake
of us
fat.
is the cow, I'm the cow in the relationship. That's okay. I'll acknowledge that. I taste better than you do.
Well, you probably do, but you barely weigh more than me. You're a fake fat.
Well, if you want to know how my afternoon went, I got a massage yesterday for the first time in like 7 or 8. You've been a minute for me since I had a massage.
I would ask to keep sharing that story, but I just said I wanted to try to stay on.
Nah, we're going to keep going.
Okay, all right.
After I got done,
I have a lot of questions that are going to come from this story.
after I got done, I walk out, which, by the way, first off, I'm like, can I get medium toughness? You know, like I don't want super tough. I don't want super light. Can I get medium toughness?
You want Goldilocks.
That's
stuff.
all that I can handle. I don't want it hard. I don't want it soft. I just want it just right.
Just right.
Just right. I get in there, and the gal's like, I specialize in Swedish deep tissue massages. And I'm like, oh, this is going to hurt, isn't it? And it hurt. There's I feel like I had a brutal shoulder workout yesterday at Crunch Fitness, and I'm walking around after lifting weights over my head. There were spots on my shoulder blades and back. I'm like, why does that hurt so bad as you rub this? What is going on? I walk out of the massage, which I have a hard time relaxing. Massages are just unique to me. And I get out there. She gives me the, when George shares his life story to Jerry, and he gives him the good luck with all that. She gives me that look as I walk out. Like, boy, got a lot going on with your back. It's like, what does that mean? What
Give me Jim's back.
Are you trying to sell me on more massages, or do I have real problems here? Because based on the level of pain I'm in currently, I feel like this is a real thing, but I don't know. There's a lot of knots back there.
No, I enjoy massages. I have I fall asleep during 65% of my massages, and like in Vietnam, I could have totally got robbed. I fell asleep for a solid hour.
Phone's gone, wallet's gone. You'd have no clue.
Her whole body. She was standing on me.
Whoa.
She was doing all kinds of things I hadn't done before.
Whoa, Ricky.
A little, hey, how's your mother in the back door? And she woke me up, and I was just like, I had drool on the side of my face. Okay, thank you. And bowed to her. What I like about a massage, because I'm comfortable in them, is the massage is good when you do this at least 4 times.
Yeah, you like them hard? You like it hard?
When it makes you do that, you're doing something right.
You like feeling pain?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit of pain?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I have another.
Yeah, I'm hoping that if I do this, which I probably won't, it'll be like another 8 years until I get another massage. The next one, I'm like, hey, last time you got all the kinks out, can we just, keep it nice and easy?
Nah, that's not what a massage is. Massage.
I don't want it to hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt, man.
Buckle up, buddy.
And evidently I got a bad back, so learned that yesterday.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Good luck with all that.
But I'm glad you're in today.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here with a bad back.
We got a loaded Friday show. Let's get it going. Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
The best
yeah, it's Friday.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Every once in a while, when I'm watching sports, I'm at an age now where I watch it, and there's got to be other people like this that are my age or if not older or maybe even a little younger. I watch sports and something happens, and I just audibly go, oh. And that was last night watching Jalen Brunson's ankle. Did you see this in overtime?
I didn't see it live, but I saw the video of it in Aftermath.
Oh, my.
That's too late for me. A 7:30 overtime game on TNT is a little too late for me on a Thursday night.
Oh, it's such a good game,
It
though.
was a very good game. I watched the majority of the first half. I didn't see it live, but I saw the video of it.
I think it was a massage. Made you tired.
Yeah, it wore me down. It definitely did.
I'll dabble in going to bed a little late on a Thursday because I enjoy Friday just being really fun.
Yeah.
And it's the last day of the week, so if I'm a little tired by the end of the show, I could deal with it.
I got to be on TV tonight at 7 o'clock, so I got a long day ahead of me.
Oh, you're going to be on the C-Dub?
I'm on after Moesha tonight, 7 o'clock. Hawks
right.
and T-Birds. Come say what up at the
I'll be
VMC
there.
later.
Heck
Let's go,
yeah.
Schulte. Come
be
say
fun.
what's up.
Is Girlfriends coming on after you?
No, I think it's Sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Immediately afterwards.
I'll catch the pre
Sister.
But no, he goes up. He was an absolute menace. They might have won the game had he not gotten hurt and had to leave.
Yeah.
And he drives, he jumps. When he lands, his toe basically lands. His entire foot bends, and his ankle bone is touching the ground. And he falls.
Just even hearing the story again, I just want to cringe.
I don't even know how he stood up and supported his own body weight. He shot his 2 free throws and then barely was able to limp off of the court. And now you got to wonder if you're the Knicks.
Yes.
They got about a month left in their season. His ankle looked broken.
It did.
But even if it's not and it's a severe sprain, a high ankle sprain, you got to wonder what that timeline is now. That was a good game. It was a lot of fun. And I continued to just sit there and go, what is Dallas doing? Why? He became the 5th player in Laker history to have back-to-back 30-point, 10 assists. Ever.
It's not just even that one, too, because you bring up somebody who is having another really good year. New York, look, I don't think they're a legitimate title contender with Brunson healthy, but they're a fun story. They're a good team again. They can make a lot of noise in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
You don't want to be in clutch time agast them. They're the best team going into that game
No
last
doubt.
night.
And a big part of that is who? Jalen Brunson. Where was Jalen Brunson formerly playing?
Dallas.
Okay. Yeah. Who was one of the key ingredients for the Boston Celtics to win an NBA championship last year?
Porzingis.
That's right. Where was his former team?
Yeah.
And now Luka. I mean, it's just like, it's not even just Luka. Luka's bad enough because he's maybe the best young player in the league. It's like they've been doing this for like 4 years in a row. They lost Brunson for nothing in free agency. They tried the Porzingis thing and then just gave up on him, and he's found his new home and is thriving in Boston and helped him win a title last year. And then on top of that, you traded away Luka Doncic.
It just is the dumbest. I keep coming back to seeing him in that uniform and it looking so weird to me.
Yeah, it still doesn't compute at times in my head.
It doesn't. And
I feel like I'm watching NBA 2K, like somebody's
Yes.
created league, and I'm watching it on YouTube of like, oh, of course you put Luka on the Lakers.
like
you
God is a
bastard.
big LeBron fan. He's like, we're going to get Luka for nothing.
Yeah, no chance that happens.
Cuban finally sounded off on it and said, you want to trade Luka? Okay, I guess. But like,
Get something out of it, maybe?
open it up.
Other than Anthony Davis?
Such a weird. There is something weird going on. Every day that I watch Luka Doncic in a Laker uniform, I kind of subscribe every day a little bit by a little bit by a little bit to the conspiracy. Because it doesn't
make sense.
You can say Nico Harrison knows infinitely more about how to operate a basketball team and how to roster build.
I don't think he does.
Well, you could say it, and I wouldn't fight it, really.
A lot of these guys don't really.
Yeah.
But, like...
I think you'd be a better GM than Nico. I'm
Well,
going to go
yeah,
hot take of the day.
I wouldn't
think
have
you're
traded him.
You're better than one of the NBA GMs.
I would have given him the contract, and if it wasn't working, I would have been like, all right, well, we can look to trade him now. Let's open the phone lines up. Caller number 9.
Because he still would have been at superstar age, even
503.
3 years into the deal.
I don't get it, and it really is. It comes off as if God is just up there with the sticks. Hey, I want LeBron to get one more before he's gone.
But then you're going to have to do like the force a trade thing in the game because that trade would never get approved by if you're the Lakers offering that package, they're going to say no to you 10 times out of 10. So you got to like force trades on.
Just insane.
So any trade that you offer gets accepted. It's bananas, man. I saw a thread the other day and I read through a lot of the responses and there's nothing else that comes close to this of essentially a move or a sequence of decisions and events to a franchise that has lost the overwhelming majority of the fan base in a small amount of time. And the only ones that came up were like, teams leaving, like the Rams announcing we're leaving St. Louis. Like, all right, that's different. The Mavs currently are still in Dallas. People have, the other examples were the Marlins winning the World Series
and then
trading off all their players. And it's like,
years.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but that's kind of who the Marlins were. Like, I think we all had an idea of, like, they're not that serious of a contender. They just happen to have a good collection of young players. And it also didn't include a player like Luka Doncic. Like, no offense to Miguel Cabrera, who was an incredible player and a Hall of Famer in his own right. He wasn't Luka Doncic to that city.
Also, the Marlins were such a fluky two-time champion for all of us.
The Marlins?
Like, I know in 97 they had a lot more vets, but 03 is just such a
out of nowhere
random fluky World Series.
So those were, and I was reading through, like, people have said the A's because they don't spend money. It's like, yeah, but that's a long trend thing. This is in like a month, you went from having, hey, we could win an NBA championship this year. We got Luka, we got Kyrie, we were in the finals last year, all full steam ahead They signed Clay. Now, done. Just done.
Yeah.
Done. Season's over, and who knows where you go from here.
What is the quickest your team has lost you? You say this is maybe the quickest a franchise has turned their fan base off. What is the quickest out there? I ask sports fans, what is the quickest way that a franchise has lost you? Now, you can answer that on the other side because I actually think there's another franchise dabbling in this.
Dirty tease.
And I'll tell you who that is, and I want to get your thoughts. The quickest your own team has turned you off because of the way that they've been managed. As I watch Luka Doncic go for 30 and get 10 dimes and hit big shots, and the Lakers have won like 8 straight games. I believe now they're 12-2 or 13-2 since the Doncic trade.
That sounds about right.
And the Mavs have lost Anthony Davis maybe for the year and Kyrie Irving definitely for this year and probably most of next year.
And how long is it going to take Anthony Davis to demand a trade in the offseason?
And Klay Thompson's dad is like, he's in purgatory. Get him out of here. And it's like, oh, my God.
I mean, Klay kind of sucks now, so I don't know about
That's
that.
fine. But he'd be a vet on a good team that you'd want.
Guy coming off a bench, knocked down a three here or there.
Go ride a heater, Klay.
There you go.
So you can chime in at the Fan text line 503-864-6326. I'll tell you who that other team might be next on the Fan.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on the Fan, busy day in the NFL. A ton of moves happening. The Commanders bringing back veteran linebacker Bobby Wagner. It's a one-year deal worth $8 million in guarantees. He made another Pro Bowl last year and had 100 tackles for the 13th time in a row as well last season. Jacksonville Jaguars releasing tight end Evan Ingram. It saves them $6 million in cap space. They're also trading wide receiver Christian Kirk to the Texans for a 6th-round pick in next year's draft. In the association, the Trailblazers wrapping up their 7-game road trip tonight in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. DeAndre Ayton, Delano Banton, and Robert Williams III are all out, while Jeremy Grant and Denny Avdia are questionable. The Thunder 3.5-point favorites in that one tip-off, set for 5 p.m. And in baseball, a big move. Surprisingly, the A's spending more money. The Athletics signing outfielder Lawrence Butler to a 7-year, $65.5 million extension. It does include a club option. The 24-year-old hit 22 home runs and 57 RBIs in his first full big league season in 2024. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Dirt here for Crunch Fitness. March right into Crunch Fitness this month and pay just $3 to enroll in the Peak Results membership, plus your first month free. You can learn more at crunch.com or just stop by Aloha, Beaverton Division Center, or Vancouver Plaza. Offer ends March 17th.
You wouldn't know it, but most financial advisors are put in a box. I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want to provide you a little insight about financial advisors. Most financial
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
I don't know if we'll have time to get into the fact that Stephen A. Smith just made $100 million yesterday.
Whoa.
$20 million a year.
He got a new deal yesterday? Did I miss
5
that?
years, $100 million.
I need that straight cash, homie, drop from Randy Moss.
$20 million a year to just scream and debate sports. What a life.
He was debating a YouTuber yesterday.
Was he?
Is it Kai Cenat? Is that how you say his name? Yeah. They were debating Jordan and LeBron.
Why we have YouTubers on ESPN now? Because they're doing this regularly.
Canceling around the horn, but we'll bring on a YouTuber debate Jordan versus LeBron.
Trying to get
We're
the
literally
20-year-olds.
on YouTube. Can we back off of YouTube?
No, I love YouTube.
No, I love YouTube. I love YouTube. We're not YouTubers. We're radio hosts who dabble in YouTube.
In fact, he's more of a Twitch guy, and he's a streamer.
Okay.
I should just call him content creator. I think YouTube's just the antiquated term that I'm using in my head.
I talked about the Mavericks and just watching Luka Doncic operate on a top tier level. The Lakers are riding a winning streak. Their schedule's about to get hard. It's going to be interesting to see them face some of these better teams. But they beat the Knicks for the second time in a month.
Yeah,
last night and come back. They were down double digits most of the way.
That's the Saturday night ABC game. They are in Boston, I believe, tomorrow.
Should be a good
night.
one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And how Dallas, you mentioned Dallas has turned their fan base off about as quick as you possibly can we were in the championship last year. We have a lot of things we've built on. Oh my God, we're going to dismantle this team and we're going to trade the 25-year-old prospect that everybody told us we were brilliant for drafting. And so since then, Anthony Davis gets hurt, Kyrie Irving tears his ACL. I think there could be another team potentially, and I say this kind of lightly, but it's kind of at the background of my sports radar.
That's done something similar to their fan base?
Well, we've been talking about them on and off, and they continue by the day to make me go, what are you doing? The Cincinnati Bengals yesterday, for the second straight year, told Trey Hendrickson that he could go find a team to trade for him. He's allowed to go do that. Good luck. Go shop yourself out on the market.
Go find your deal you want.
The last 2 seasons, nobody's registered more sacks than you. You are 30 years old. You're coming off a 17.5 sack season. You were the only good thing we had defensively because we weren't a good group. And so instead of paying Trey Hendrickson, again, he is 30, the Cincinnati Bengals have told him he can go shop for himself. And I just wonder, you got Burrow under contract. He doesn't seem to be going anywhere. But you haven't come to an agreement yet with Jamar Chase.
No, seems like that's the one that will happen at some point.
Yeah, the latest report was that they were far apart and that T. Higgins is going to get tagged and they're not reaching a contract yet. And so I just wonder, are the Cincinnati Bengals this team of hey, you have a great thing. You barely lost in the Super Bowl. Fast forward a few years later, we have found a way to screw this up and make Joe Burrow not happy.
Yeah, I mean, you're not quite there yet, but I think in the long-term view, your take's going to be right. And I've been on this for a while. I don't trust them. They're not a trustworthy organization. They never have been. They have a cheap owner who's not cash rich, so he doesn't have the ability to cook the books the way some of these other teams do, salary cap wise, where you just upload deals with signing bonuses and it keeps your salary cap number low. There was a let me pull this up. I want to find this so I know the number correctly. The Eagles are one of the best run organizations in the NFL. We can all acknowledge that. They've been to multiple Super Bowls. They just won another title. They won one with Nick Foles a couple of years ago. Warren Sharp had this. He was looking through some of the contracts handed out. So since they signed Joe Burrow to his extension, the Cincinnati Bengals have given out one contract north of $40 million. Here it is. The Bengals and Eagles both signed their quarterbacks to extensions in 2023. So Hurts and Burrow both got their deals done.
Yeah.
Since then, Cincinnati has re-signed one contract over $40 million. That was Logan Wilson. Mm-hmm. That's the only one. You know how many Philadelphia has in that span? Signed to over $40 million in a contract?
4?
8.
Oh, my God.
8. A.J. Brown, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Devonta Smith, Jordan Mailata, Zach Bond, Darius Lace, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, they just locked up Bond a couple days ago.
And so this is one of those, it takes a village as a quarterback to win, and we forget that often. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He was on a rookie deal.
Yep.
They had a great defensive coordinator. They hit on some picks. He got these great wide receivers. Everything seemed to be smooth sailing. He is coming off the best year of his career and they couldn't make the playoffs. And they had the best wide receiver in the NFL, and to the point of the original segment, they have the best pass rusher in the NFL,
And the sack leader.
according to statistics this past year in the league, and they're going to lose one of them. He might lose his number 2 wide receiver. It's only a matter of time until this guy looks around and says, wait a minute.
Well,
what is happening? I'm performing at a high level and we're not winning. Why is that the case?
So I think we know this about the NFL. Do we not? Like, how did the Eagles ultimately win the Super Bowl? They have Hurts, and Barkley had this record-breaking year, and Brown is really good when he's dialed in, and Smith and Goddard. Those are great players. Mailata, you mentioned him. The offensive line was good. I'm not saying they just won it because of one side. That other side that I just named off is amazing. They won that specific game because they wrecked the Chiefs' offensive line.
Their defensive line dominated the game.
This is the era of quarterbacks matter and pass rushers are maybe the second or third most important position to pay and have.
Yep, outside of a left tackle, that's the only other one you would maybe put ahead of them.
The Raiders haven't won a playoff game, I think, since 01 or 02. And so, like, you tell me they're gonna pay the highest paid player on their team is going to be an edge rusher. I ain't batting an eye at that. I think that's a really valuable position to have. And so Crosby, yeah, go get that money. Again, Hendrickson is 30, so maybe that's the counter argument to all of this. But you're not winning without a pass rush. No. You're just not in this league, man. And so I don't know what to do. They just lost Sam Hubbard. I don't know if that was a shock to everybody else, but I saw that. I forgot to mention it on the show. I was like, whoa. He's 29.
He just retired.
He's an Ohio guy his whole life. Played Ohio State. Yep. He wanted to be a Bengal. He loves the Bengals. He had many moments with the Bengals that were just amazing. I'm done. I'm going to hang him up. My body's banged up. Okay, I don't blame you. And now you might lose Hendrickson. I don't know how you replace it.
And T. Higgins could hold out. I mean, I don't know if he's even going to show up. You might not trade him because if he doesn't sign it, that's a weird situation, but he might not show up.
The one thing about them that is a little unique, Burrow operates on a I want to effing win. And so a lot of franchise guys get their deals and they just, plug in and go. There is something about him that I wonder if you do screw this up and they're not up to par the next 2 years, he's delivering on his end. Is he kind of one of these standalone guys? It's like, yo,
I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen often. You don't see this with franchise quarterbacks. I've been wondering this for 5-6 years of, are we ever going to get that position becoming NBA players? Hey, franchise, you're terrible. You don't know how to build. You're not making the right moves. I want to be out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he will, because, again, he's going to get his money. He's the one guaranteed to get the contract. I just wonder if his personality, his competitiveness, his I want to smoke a cigar on a couch, like, I just wonder if that eventually wears on him if they're not roster building correctly.
Well, especially if you look around the rest of the AFC, and I don't know how the next 5 to 7 years will go, but Buffalo has been a year in and year out playoff contender.
Will they win the whole thing? It's hard to go too far out in the NFL, but yes, Buffalo.
They've been there every year.
Baltimore.
Now, will they win one? I don't know. Baltimore's been there every year. Kansas City is a staple right now.
Hell, even though I don't buy them as a contender, Dirt, not to interrupt you, but another team in their own division. Pittsburgh seemingly is over 500.
They're in the playoffs every year. Every year. They're either in the playoffs or they're a game out of the playoffs, right? The Chargers made a great hire at head coach. They just made the playoffs. I know it didn't end well for them, but I think you would say the stock is rising on them in the AFC. So you look around the rest of the conference, there's a lot of teams that have their S figured out. It's not easy to win. It's a lot easier to get to the Super Bowl right now if you're an NFC quarterback than it is an AFC quarterback because of the gauntlet you have to go through. Mm-hmm. And if he looks around 2-3 years from now and all those things remain constant, you got Kansas City that's not going anywhere. Buffalo's there year in and year out. Baltimore's there year in and year out. The Chargers continue to rise. Maybe Denver's that next team with Bo. Who knows how the rest of it looks? But if they're the odd man out in the AFC, saying all these other quarterbacks are having success and I'm not, there's going to be a breaking point. And I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. The last time we saw a franchise quarterback just flat out refuse to show up and demand out was the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. It was the same thing happened to Carson Palmer. It's exactly where he was at. And he said, dude, you are a cheap organization who doesn't ultimately care about winning. And I want out. I want to have a chance to go win somewhere else. The cap numbers are very simple to figure out. Just looking at Philly and Cincinnati, I'm not asking you to hand out 8 $40 million contracts. It's the ability to give Joe Burrow a restructured deal, which maybe they finally do this offseason. But Philly has the ability to do it with Jalen Hurts to keep his cap number down, but you got to have the cash up front in order to do it, and that's how they're able to re-sign everybody else. Cincinnati, to this point, has not done it with Burrow, and if they do it with Burrow, do they then have the ability to do it with Jamar Chase as well and give him $50 million in cash up front? Who knows how it's all going to shake out. But right now, if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm terrified of spoiling what should have been a golden era of your franchise.
I say this a lot about the Mariners, but it seems kind of like the Bengals, who, I don't know if you guys remember the last couple of surveys. It's nice that we have these player surveys in the NFL, but the Bengals ranked, I think, bottom 5 in childcare offered, bottom 5 in like food options offered.
Dirt
cafeteria
loves those
stuff.
surveys.
Yeah, cafeteria, bottom 5 in training
Dirt
facilities.
evaluates those surveys as if he is a current Cincinnati Bengals. Like, where did my vote? Where did it rank?
Dude, why don't I'm an NFL player and I have better food options for me? Don't you want me to
Seriously.
take care of my body? Like, isn't that important to you as an organization?
You got to get the best oil, for the engine under the hood if you're trying
Yes.
to win a race.
Thank you,
And the
Schultze.
Bengals just consistently don't do that. So if you think that the Bengals are going to handle this situation outside of bungling everything else in their organization, you're crazy.
I've got more NFL stuff I want to get to. I want to get to the Seahawks a little bit. Brady Henderson, our great friend from ESPN, is going to join us at 8 a.m. for the ticker. So we'll get his thoughts on the latest in Seattle, but more NFL dealings next on The Fan.
The Herd with This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
I'm going to ask this question for the top of the hour because I want to get to some DK Metcalf stuff. John Schneider talked yesterday to 710 ESPN in Seattle. Who's more likely to be donning their current team's uniform to kick off next year, DK or Trey Hendrickson?
I would lean DK right now.
Okay.
I would lean DK.
They let Hendrickson shop himself last year, too, so this is back-to-back year.
It is.
I guess
the value on the open market is higher, I think, for Hendrickson, and so that would be their sell, is that we could get a
He is 30.
He is 30. He is 30.
You're going to have to give him a deal.
But he's coming off of dominant seasons, whereas DK is older as a wide receiver, not over the hill.
Well, who would you rather pay, though? Who?
I'd rather play Hendrickson for the next 3 to 4 years than I would DK Metcalf.
You think at 33, 34 years old, he could still produce at a decent
I'd say
high
from
level?
30 to 33 he could. 34, I don't know. But I would feel more confident doing that than I would giving DK Metcalf a 4-year deal with $30+ million guaranteed every year.
There's just the NFL is kind of hot right now. They got a lot of free agency stuff. The Jags randomly trading Kirk to the Texans.
Dude, the Jags cut half their team yesterday.
Sure,
every 5 minutes there's an update. Jacksonville cut so-and-so.
Well, I saw this from Mina Kimes where she was like, all this receiver stuff, and she was highlighting Christian Kirk being traded. She goes, this tells you what the NFL is thinking about this wide receiver class.
It's not very good.
And I will just be I guess I'll just maybe be the lone dissenting voice from all of the smarter people even than me and say, there's going to be like 3 or 4 dudes in this draft that emerge and become studs because I think much like quarterback, NFL people can't clearly identify receiver talent. Not that they can't, but like they miss on people. Nobody knew about Puka Nacua. And now Puka Nacua is maybe a top 5 receiver when healthy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you can find that, you can find one every single season. Telling me it's a weak class, I kind of think it's lazy.
Yeah.
Not her, but like the NFL thinking that, and I think she probably has sourced that stuff. She's probably right, but there's going to be a couple teams that hit on guys that nobody's giving enough credit to.
For sure.
And we'll go, man, how come nobody talked about that guy? Like, who saw Nico Collins coming to this, right?
Yeah, Ladd McConkey was this last year as a rookie for the Chargers. I mean, you've had these guys. There's no doubt about it. There will be a couple. I think the other part that I would add to it, though, it's not just that there's a feeling that the draft class of wide receivers isn't good, which you're 100% spot on. Some of them will end up hitting. But I think it's furthermore than that, the wide receiver class of the free agent class of wide receivers, they would view as not very strong. Like, does Devontae Adams do anything for you anymore?
Nothing.
Right? Chris Godwin?
Yes.
Okay.
Chris Godwin, when he's healthy, and he had an unfortunate injury last year.
Tore his ACL.
I think
got hurt again.
I think Chris Godwin is really good.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy. Amari Cooper, does that do anything for you?
Amari Cooper was beyond disappointing. I thought he was going to help Buffalo so much more than he did.
Stephon Diggs coming off of his injury?
Absolutely not. No,
right? So
no.
Hollywood Brown.
He's also a little older. Hollywood Brown has never done anything for him.
This is your free agent class of wide receivers. So I think I would take it further. If it's not just the draft class, it's the realization of these are the guys on the open market in the offseason that we have a chance to go get. Let's go make a trade for somebody because we don't know how to feel about this class and where they're going to go.
Well, I'm not saying the NFL teams do this, and we have a lot of really smart listeners that chime in all the time that either disagree or they'll make us think a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How come the NFL, if wide receivers are making 30 to 35 now, Justin Jefferson's the highest paid at 35. We'll see what Chase beats him with. And edge rushers are like the most coveted. Why doesn't the NFL, why don't we approach the receiver position similar to some other positions in the NFL of like, hey, you hit on this and it's such a lower cost than every other position with these rookie contracts, how massive that is for your team.
Yeah, to get guys on rookie deals.
And that's why I look
be able to capitalize.
I look at the draft class and I hear how bad it is, and it's like, okay, like I'm not gonna act like I know all the names. I don't.
Yeah.
But man, if you do your proper scouting and you hit on a guy in the 2nd to 3rd round, think about that cap hit. It's nothing to you.
It's nothing for a couple of years.
For getting production from a name that nobody really gave enough conversation to. That's all I'm saying.
There's now 6 guys at the wide receiver position making an average of $30 million a year.
Yeah, these guys are getting paid.
Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, St. Brown, A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb, and Justin Jefferson at $35 million. And Jamar Chase will join them in the relatively near future.
So Jefferson, C.D., potentially here Chase, and then I'd probably throw in there St. Brown,
DK could also join him in a trade in a new deal. He could also be at $30 million a year, too.
AJ is still young enough where that deal's going to wind out, and I'd be okay with it. But right now, giving him a 4-year deal or 3-year, I think at $90 million deal, whatever he got.
Yeah, $96 million.
There's a couple guys on that list that I wouldn't want. Like Tyreek Hill, no thank you.
The Brandon Ayuk deal has aged horribly for them. That whole thing was weird last offseason. Yeah. They should have just traded him. They seemingly wanted to trade him, but they didn't like what the compensation package was in return. They ended up bending over and giving him the deal, and then he had a horrible year, and then he got hurt on top of it. That could not have ended worse for San Francisco, and I don't think anybody watched him and said, that's one of the 5 or 6 best wide receivers in the league, but he's currently paid as one of the 5 or 6 best receivers in the league.
Well, the advanced analytics crowd really spoke up for him, and they were like, if you look into the yards per separation on route, he's the leader. And look, he's a good player. He is. I don't want to diminish his
he's a very
skills.
good player.
He won't be back until like week 10 next year because of his injury. And I just, as a Niner fan, I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I like him, but I don't think he's a true 1 personally. I think he's a really good 2. In the right room could be an amazing 3. I don't look at Ayuk as a solid 1. So some of these guys you got to figure out. Final note on non-Seahawk DK Metcalf stuff. Mm-hmm. Is there a reason the owner of the Browns would decline meeting with Myles Garrett? He's directed Garrett to just go speak with the general manager.
So I don't want to talk to you.
Haslam doesn't want to talk to him.
Doesn't want to sit down face to face.
If you were an owner, would you do that, or would you want to meet with the player who's requesting a trade?
I would want to meet with the player that's requesting the trade. Doesn't mean you have to grant. I mean, you're still the owner of the team. You can do whatever the hell you want. So it doesn't mean you have to accept his demand for a trade. But I would want to sit down with him, see if I could sell him on my vision and what my thought process was. If I didn't want to trade him and I wanted to hold on to him, which it seems like that's what Cleveland wants to do, yeah, I'd want some face-to-face time with him.
Washington's a fairly obvious team to point at with a pass rush need, and so is Atlanta, by the way. If you're Washington, would you rather trade for Garrett or Hendrickson?
I mean, the package you're going to have to give up to get Garrett is going to be significantly more. Right? But I would still lean Myles Garrett. Hendrickson's
had more sacks last 2 years than Myles Garrett.
Isn't it funny how it works that way? But nobody, if I'd say who's the better defensive lineman or who's the best defensive lineman in the league,
it's because of his build.
It's because of his build.
He's the DK Metcalf of D linemen. It's like you were chiseled out of clay. It's unreal.
I look at them. I mentioned Chicago yesterday. I think they're doing a good job this offseason of saying rookie quarterback contract. Here's some money. Offensive line.
Load up on the line.
Here, let's go fix some stuff. Like Washington, that clock's ticking for you now. You got the next 3 years in order to bring in as many big salaries and big contracts and take as many swings as you can before you're going to have to pay Jaden Daniels $800 billion. So, hell yeah, swing for Myles Garrett, man. Go get that deal done.
We have a lot to get to in the second hour of the program. DK Metcalf requesting a trade on Tyler Lockett Day did not sit well. John Schneider spoke with 710 ESPN. Let's talk a little DK Metcalf kickoff hour number 2. Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, busy day in the NFL as the Washington Commanders decide to bring back veteran linebacker Bobby Wagner on a one-year deal worth $8 million in guarantees. The 10-time Pro Bowler recorded more than 100 tackles for the 13th time in a row last year. And the Jacksonville Jaguars also making a couple of moves. They're releasing tight end Evan Ingram, saving them $6 million in cap space, also trading wideout Christian Kirk to the Houston Texans for a 6th-round pick in next year's draft. In the association, the Trailblazers back at it tonight to wrap up their 7-game road trip in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. DeAndre Ayton, Delano Banton, Robert Williams III are all out, though. Jeremy Grant and Denny Avdia are questionable. The Thunder 3.5-point favorites right now. Tip-off set for 5 p.m. And a big extension handed out in baseball. The Athletics signing outfielder Lawrence Butler to a 7-year, $65.5 million contract that includes a club option. The 24-year-old hit 22 whammies in his first full big league season in 2024. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Oh, hey, I'm Ricky Bobby.
And I'm Cal Naughton Jr. Let's talk about kids on leashes.
This is Dirt and Sprague.
Fire Safety Week is right around the corner, and here are a few important tips you might want to listen to.
Wrapping your kids a newspaper at bedtime sounds like a good idea. Keeps them warm. But guess what? That stuff's flammable.
With Andy Dirt Johnson.
Hey, we've all run around with an empty milk jug full of gasoline and lit it in an open field, but make sure there's a parent close by.
And Brendan Sprague.
What's better than a nap? A nap with a cigarette. I know. I do it. If you're going to sleep in bed, make it a hammock. So if it lights on fire, you fall down and wake up.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080.
Fire safety begins in your brain at home.
The Fan.
All right, welcome back in. Hour 2, Dirt and Sprague here. Well underway. We have been for at least 4 minutes. We just like to break it up. A little music. Happy Friday, everybody.
We've been blowing and going.
We have been blowing and going. No Stephen A. LeBron-like confrontation on the show thus far, but it is still
early. You never know where we're going to go.
Still early.
We got 2 more hours to go.
Schulte might come in here, grab me by my collar.
Could happen.
Tell me to pipe down.
Hey, you sit down and shut up over there.
Keep Bronny's name out your mouth.
I'm going to tell you right now, you go on national television in front of one of the biggest audiences in America and you question my fathering.
Yeah, we're going to have issues.
I would punch you in the face.
We're going to have issues.
I wouldn't just tell you to keep my kid's name out your mouth. I'd punch you in the face.
Especially if I was that size, too. I mean, just that physically dominant. Yeah.
Did he not put his kid in this position because of his unbelievable ego? Like Bronny's in an
tell me how I'm
position.
fathering on television, I will punch you in the face.
Yeah. Calling him a bad father?
I'm not saying that he's a bad father. I'm saying he has a ridiculous ego.
Stephen A. did.
Stephen A. called him a bad father.
Okay.
Essentially called him a bad father.
Well, that's kind of crossing the line, but I feel
kind of.
People have
God, do you have a line for anybody in your family?
No, what I'm saying is people have been approaching that for months. So for him to now all of a sudden be like, Stephen A., no more. It's like, dude, people have been approaching on the, like, they have been broaching the subject for months.
Questioning his fathering of his son for months?
I would say they've questioned why he was pushing him to be an NBA player when he's not ready because
it was
in the long term, it's not going to help him.
What's his averages in the G League, by the way?
Oh God, dude, why does it matter?
What are his averages?
Averaged like 30 in the G League.
What are his averages in the G League compared to the other second rounders?
Probably just unbelievably different.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't sound like you know. So
no, I don't.
We only follow this stuff when we want to argue about it.
No, I've watched 3 of his G League games.
You
he
have.
played
You've
very
watched
well.
You've watched 3 games?
Not like full games, but yes, I saw Bronny playing in 3. NBA
Look
TV
at you
has,
saying there's no confrontation. They're just seeking out a confrontation.
If it's a Bronny game,
I don't think you've watched 3 Bronny games.
I didn't even know you. Can you watch G League games?
Yes.
Highlight. He just said highlights.
Yes, I said I've not watched a full 48 minutes.
If you said, "Hey, Dirt, I'll give you $500 to watch a G League game," I don't even know if I know how to find a G League game.
That's why I asked.
I don't even know. Do they air them? Are they on ESPN Plus? What channel are these things on?
That's why I asked.
I don't think I have the ability to watch these things. The only G League game I ever watched, I watched one in my lifetime, and it was the Scoot Wemby game. They aired it on ESPN. It was a big deal.
That was quite literally a big deal. 7'5".
I thought he was going to be better than Wemby.
By the way, one of our listeners tweeting us, Dick Burns, he got his house.
Hell yeah, Dick Burns. Let's go, baby.
Huh? I love to hear good news on a Friday.
Look at that. He was up early with us the other morning.
He's going to panic when that first mortgage payment hits. Like,
hey,
oh my God.
Enjoy that first free month, baby. That thing doesn't kick in until next month. Enjoy the next couple of weeks.
I swear that month is fake. It feels like it's 2 weeks, not an actual month.
It's a very funny thing that they do.
They're like, hey, your first month's free.
It's on us. You're
2 months
right.
later, there's the bill. You're like, what?
What? I got to pay this every month now? What the hell happened, man?
Another 25 days? What's going on?
I got to go find a second job.
We want to get some DK Metcalf stuff. DK Metcalf requested a trade, and it came out on Tyler Lockett Day.
Yeah, they were not happy about that in Seattle.
Boy, I know Tyler Lockett had a really good career. I think I underestimated the career because
the numbers and stuff. Like when you look at the overall career.
Well, he's basically their second best receiver in franchise history.
Yes, he is.
No, more the response to it.
Yeah.
They were really pissed that this came out during Tyler Lockett Day.
They wanted it to be a day to appreciate him and to everybody send him the flowers. And then out of left field, you got DK Metcalf saying, "Oh, by the way, I want out of here. Trade my ass immediately." Right. And that was not... it's a weird thing to do to a teammate. He could have waited 48... Like, there's no difference in demanding a trade. We just got this with Hendrickson yesterday. Like, there would have been no different waiting 2 days and coming out with it. Instead, it was the same day. And it was a weird thing to do to a guy in the wide receiver room with you. And the Seahawks organization, I don't think, is going to look very kindly upon that timing of it.
Well, John Schneider spoke to 710 ESPN, and Corn Pop pulled these cuts for us. So this was John Schneider on the DK trade request.
I think it's in a very cordial, professional place. Obviously DK has requested a trade, and we are, entertaining that. We are talking to a ton of teams, taking offers, seeing what that looks like.
He also echoed on what the trade means for the Seahawks.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, you always have to do the thing to understand here is that, our responsibility to, Jody Allen, the 12s, first and foremost is doing what's absolutely best for the organization. A, and then B, what's best for the player. Hopefully, both those things merge and it's an ideal situation. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. Hopefully in this situation it does, and that would be great. But worst case scenario, I mean, we have a amazing, explosive, powerful athlete playing receiver for us again in 2025. So we'll see where this goes.
I think that's the thing to keep an eye on is if they don't find the right trade compensation, which for them is a first and a third, and then DK wants $30 million a year, they are willing to just say, yeah, come on back. We'd love to have you back. So I think that's encouraging from the Seahawks point of view of like, you might get the trade stuff you want.
Mm-hmm.
You also have such a good relationship, even though they admitted yesterday they didn't like that this came out. They didn't necessarily blame DK. It was just like this was not the day of all the days.
Of all days to do this.
To draw the attention away because we wanted Lockett to have his day. But basically the relationship is good enough where if it doesn't work out on the trade, they'll bring him back and then see what happens from there.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is DK is going to say I want to play for a contender. This is about a new contract. This is about I got one more year left on my deal. You're not going to give me the deal. I don't want to play the final year of my contract out in case I get hurt. I want a little financial security. Seattle's saying we don't think you're worth that much. Go find what you're worth on the open market. Is there a team that's willing to give up something that we would desire and covet in terms of draft capital
100%.
And give you the contract that you want? Is somebody just willing to give you the contract but not willing to trade? Like, let's just see what the open market thinks about you. A lot of this is just exploring. Some of them seem headed for divorces. This one doesn't necessarily have to have divorce written all over it. It just depends on what he finds and what his agent finds in the open market. And if somebody is willing to give that deal to DK, is Seattle willing to spend that kind of money on him as a 27-year-old wide receiver?
Well, we don't know if they're willing to because I think they have to think about JSN in the future.
They do.
We've talked about the quarterback.
It's going into what, year 3, if I'm not mistaken?
Year 3, you would be
Yeah.
correct. You know what's funny is yesterday I was watching and listening to some NFL stuff because I knew we would talk about DK. And I'm blanking on who it was, but basically shared your sentiment of the quarterback thing. And like, what are you doing there long term? And so how much that's part of the equation with the money stuff. I don't know if this is just simply about pay me. I think if it was about pay me, he'd just be loud and there'd be like DK Metcalf wants extension, I think this is about a little more. He didn't have a great year. I mean, he had an okay year, but he didn't have a great year according to him.
Yeah.
The offense isn't necessarily geared towards him the way maybe he would prefer it. And so I wonder if this is a little bit more than just I want to be paid. Some of these guys just do want to move on. Now, Bill Barnwell put together a list of teams. Bill Barnwell is somebody I love to read. I think he's very smart.
Yeah.
He writes really long, in-depth pieces. These are the teams he thinks should be in line for DK Metcalf because him and Mina Kimes were in unison yesterday on SportsCenter of go get this guy. Now, they didn't say yes or no to the trade request stuff, but they were like, yes, go get this guy. Buffalo.
Yeah.
Denver.
Yeah.
Denver would be great for
Denver
Bo
would be a
Nix.
great fit.
Green Bay.
Yeah. They desperately need another wide receiver.
This one's interesting because they don't have to pay their quarterback yet. And man, with him and the other guy currently there, I would be a little terrified. The Houston Texans.
Yeah, it's a weird one for them because they just did this last offseason with Diggs. They made the move to go get him. Somebody, I think it might even have been Barnwell who had the graphic of their top 3 wide receivers in Houston, which hardly played last season because they basically all ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, they traded when they got hurt.
Yeah, they did. I think it was the stat that C.J. Stroud attempted 66 total passes with all 3 of those guys on the field last year. That's it.
That's crazy.
66
Only
total
66?
passes for the entirety of the season with those 3 guys on the field at the same time.
Kansas City is always going to be in this.
No!
That would be so funny.
Don't let them do it. Please don't let them do it.
The Raiders,
I don't think they have the caps. Maybe they do.
Exactly.
Cap space
How could
isn't
Kansas
real,
City
but
afford that?
I mean,
Yeah,
the Browns.
I know.
The
I
fair
know.
point, Schultze. But didn't the Browns yesterday tell us the cap's fake? It's like,
Here's-
here, Deshaun, here's some money. Now we have caps.
here's
That's a
$50 million
valid
in
point.
cash. We just lowered our cap hit by $35 million.
The Browns jumped with that cap move to like one of the worst cap situations in the league to like middle upper road. It was like one little, hey, here's some money up front. Okay, we're good now. It was crazy how that happens.
Haslam's are very rich,
if you're
man.
a cash-rich owner, you can do
Exactly.
it. If you're not, then you can't. I mean, there are differences there.
The Raiders are in this, which I would, Pete Carroll reunion there.
Yeah.
Because remember, he was a part of the regime when they
DK Metcalf would
drafted
be
him.
a good Raider. He fits
Be a
as a
great
Raider.
Raider.
Like, just the picture in your head, that dude looks like a Raider.
The Chargers, which
Yep.
is one you highlighted yesterday.
Yes,
Because I think McConkey would be such a good compliment to
And
him.
I believe after the Bosa move this weekend, the Chargers have the most cap space in the NFL.
I don't believe they have the most. I think it's third.
Okay.
Yeah, that saved
The
them
one with the
27
most
million.
is this team, and this one makes a ton of sense. The New England Patriots.
Yeah, go get a weapon for your young quarterback.
Now, I didn't know this. Drake May's sack rate by the time he started playing as the Patriot quarterback, he was on track to match Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
So their offensive line
Not
is
good.
a disaster.
Not good.
And so they need to go shore up their offensive line the way Chicago's trying to.
A lot of mocks have had them taking a wide receiver with their first pick.
I've seen
Potentially
Hunter there, and I'm
Hunter
just
maybe,
like,
McMillan I've seen mocked there. I would go offensive line.
Take
But
the best lineman,
Yeah.
and they're a team I would throw in this because I think it would make a ton of sense for New England to go after him. The Steelers, we just don't see the Steelers make that kind of move.
Yeah, who's their quarterback?
And the Commanders is fascinating that they're on this list because
Yeah.
Scary Terry, Debo if he's healthy, DK out there, paired with what they had. I mean, my God, that would be an offensive just treasure for them. Denver, Green Bay, Chargers, and probably New England are the 4 for me that if I'm like one of those 4 teams,
Makes a lot of sense.
I'm trying to jump ahead of these other teams to get this dude.
Makes a lot of sense. They could all use one more weapon. Look, he's 27 years old. He didn't have the best season to his standards. Some of that is a change in offensive coordinator, right? You've had different offensive coordinators now the last 2 years. Now you're bringing in another voice, so you're not quite sure how you're going to fit in the offense. Like, I think there's something there. It just ultimately comes down to what is the draft compensation that makes Seattle say, okay, we'll do that deal. And is it worth it? And I'd be okay giving him $30 million for the next 3 years.
If you're the Seahawks,
extending his deal
fan, we'll ask Brady this.
Yeah.
Are they better served if they take less than what they're asking for on the trade market?
I mean, they're not going to get what they're asking for. That's a starting negotiation. There's
that's
no
fine.
chance somebody gives them a 1 and a 3.
Okay, so it's less than what they're asking for right now. As a Seahawks fan, would you rather them just bring him back and pay him? Or do you not want to pay DK Metcalf? Where would you lean as a fan? Because I would love to have Metcalf and JSN back all day.
I'd probably lean wanting to re-sign him if I was a fan.
Versus losing him?
I probably would.
That's an easy one for me. You got to bring him back.
Got to bring him back?
I mean, you've literally kind of taken steps with your organization where Jody's taken over and, okay, we need to recycle the coach. Well, you didn't do that at the same time as well. It's going to come up to Geno Smith's time to be recycled or re-signed, so what do? And maybe DK wants to be with a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. It could just be more than money. It could just be money. Who knows? But I would say you do all you can to keep him. You don't want to trade him if you don't have to.
What more NFL dealings to get? It's turned into a football Friday today.
It kind of has. There's a lot going on.
that.
The NFL offseason's having a pretty dominant run so far.
Well, I just, this is much like the NBA to me. I do get excited talking about this stuff. The draft is around the corner, and now players are asking for trades. Players are being traded. Contract extension. Derek Barnes got paid by the Lions.
He did.
Those little moves, Barnes and Bond, those are guys that get signed. The teams are excited. The fans are excited. But largely, the rest of the NFL is like, linebacker.
Yeah, whatever. That's fine. Yeah,
and then he makes a big play. Damn it, that guy's
Damn it. And then they win the Super Bowl, and you're like, dang, the offseason's kind of important.
So we'll talk with Brady Henderson and ask him some Seahawks stuff at the top of the hour. The ticker's going to be at 8 a.m. Dirt and Sprague, we're back with more on 1080 The Fan. And now we're going to hang around because you know why? Retirement. Retirement is right around the corner, Dirt. I feel very intimidated about retirement.
Very intimidated.
People always ask, my 401k is this, and I'm sitting at this, and I never say anything because I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't know anything enough about retirement. And so there's a lot of questions you might have about your retirement. Don't hesitate. Trajan Wealth is in Portland now, and they can help you. They can give you the answers to your questions. 503-207-6000, or you can find them online if you're interested. Free consultation at TrajanWealth.com.
The fiduciary advisors at Trajan Wealth understand no two retirement plans are the same. They offer guidance on a variety of financial objectives, including ways to earn higher potential returns and tax concerns. Let Trajan Wealth help you develop a plan that will meet your financial goals. Call today. Trajan Wealth has decades of experience and is family-owned and veteran-led by Jeff Jr. The number to call, 503-207-6000. Or you can visit them online, Trajan Wealth, that's TRAJAN Wealth.com.
You can't be afraid to ask questions. If you're interested, a complimentary consultation is right there waiting for you. You can find Trajan Wealth online at TrajanWealth.com or give them a call again at 503-207-6000. Trajan Wealth. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement.
Fan.
Brady Henderson will join us coming up at the top of the hour. We'll talk some more Seahawks. We'll ask him about DK Metcalf and where all that might end up landing. Team seems open to trade him. Grant his request, but, we'll have to kind of wait and see what they end up doing on that one.
Yeah, Seahawks fans are chiming in. I'm okay keeping him. It just depends on what is he asking for. What does he want to be paid?
Yeah. And what if it's the Tyreek number? It's $90 million. Let's just call it 80 to be guaranteed because that's usually what those do.
Yes.
And let's call it 3 years. Does that make him happy? $91 million to beat Tyreek Hill, but not be. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not Jamar Chase.
No. Is he asking for? I don't know what he's asking for behind the scenes. Does he want $35 million a year? Is he okay with $30 million a year? I know that's the rumor out there that he wants $30 million a year. I think a lot of that is depending on what he wants.
I would be mistaken to not bring this back up and ask you. We brought it up yesterday, and we talked very briefly. You were able to sit on it maybe for 24 hours. Just your thoughts of Oregon and Dan Lanning 2-year agreement. Extension.
I'm fired up, man. I think it's the synergy in the athletic department and with Lanning and his vision for where everything is going. I'll give credit to our guy Andrew Nimick, who was on the air last night with recruiting with Andrew Nimick. I thought he had a really good point, and it's a point that doesn't get brought up enough that I try and hammer home, and I remember doing it even in the aftermath of the heartbreaking loss and the devastating and embarrassing loss to Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. The last time Oregon had a coach who was here for longer than 4 years was Mike Bellotti. That's a long time ago. Mike Bellotti has not been the head coach in quite some time for those keeping track at home. He's going to go into year 4 next year. If he's here the year after that, he will be the longest tenured head coach since Mike Bellotti, and that would be in 2026, nearly 20 years later. A lot of four and dones, one and done, some quick turnarounds. And so Nimick hit it on the head, and it's something that I've argued, and that is what the further message that this sends to the college football world and mainly to the recruiting world is stability. It's that I'm not going anywhere. And I think there's a fear for a lot of kids that I don't know if this coach is going to be around in 2 years. I don't know what the landscape's going to look like. Is this guy going to bounce for another job? There's not a lot of guarantees. And I think Lanning has continued to tell you year in and year out, I'm not going anywhere. The grass is damn green, whether he was offered jobs or not. I don't plan on going anywhere, and now we're restructuring a contract, and he's one of the 5 highest-paid coaches in the country. The stability is huge. He has had the ability now. The upcoming recruiting class is 2026. He has been at Oregon for 3 years, so he's recruited these guys as the head coach at Oregon since they were sophomores in high school, which is really when the recruiting process begins for high school kids. And right now, depending on the metrics, Oregon has the number 1 or number 2 recruiting class in the country in 2026. They're on the brink of potentially adding 2 more 5-stars this weekend to that class, and maybe the number 1 overall quarterback in the country. The stability is huge, and this further legitimizes that he's not going anywhere.
Well, I was thinking about this and reading some of the stuff on him agreeing to the 2-year extension, which will get him roughly around $11 million per year and finally make him a top 8 paid coach in the sport.
Yep.
You look around the landscape of that and just like how many jobs even exist on the radar that are interesting to leave Oregon for. And again, I know Oregon hasn't won the Natty, and Beaver fan will highlight like how they come up short in the big one, whatever. But like where they're at right now in recruiting, winning the Big Ten in year 1, having a undefeated season until you got to the playoff against Ohio State that turned into a buzzsaw. You look around and you're like, can you name 3 jobs? I can't. Why is Kirby Smart's not going anywhere?
No, he's
Sarkisian
not
signed an extension.
If he goes anywhere, just be the NFL. It's because he's done. He wants to go try his hat in the NFL.
There's no intel that he's Maybe he will. Maybe he'll Nick Saban the situation. But he's got the best thing going in college.
Everything he
Georgia.
needs to succeed at Georgia.
He's a king. He's a tastemaker in Athens. The guy's a god for. God's sakes. Sark at Texas got an extension.
Yeah, you throw Ohio State in there, you throw Texas in there. You're in that category.
You can maybe circle Bama and say that's it, but Day doesn't appear to be going anywhere despite the death threats and how ridiculous those fans are at Ohio State. Michigan just reset, and they got the number 1 quarterback coming in this year. You just kind of play the blue blood game, and you can't really name any. Why would you leave Oregon for USC? I wouldn't.
No.
Not the way it's going right now. I didn't care about USC offering me a lot of money. So you look around, and it's not just that like he might be here the longest post-Bellotti. It's that now he's also being compensated the way that he's been kind of performing. You can debate with a wall for me about his lack of success in the playoff. Yeah, well, what is his record? 35-6?
35-6 in 3 years, and 4 of the 6 teams he lost to either played for or won the national championship.
And he seemingly is in the top 7 of recruiting every year. He's in the conversation for number 1. He might get the number 1 quarterback in 2026. With all of what is happening there, he's in his 30s still.
He's a young guy.
Devoted, doesn't make excuses. I just don't think you can even find jobs that should be, frightening Duck fan. You could always throw Miami. And, there was one time where it was he declined Miami, and you went, yeah, he's not going to go home. He wants to stay in Eugene. And then Miami came back, and they were like, oh, my God, he's leaving us for Miami. Chip, to me, always smelled like a short-term thing, and Duck fan didn't agree with my takes back in that day, but it proved to be right. Helfrich was not a real thing to me. And Willie Taggart, I just never really trusted all that much. And
didn't even get to know the guy, dude. He was here for 9 months.
He's swag surfing. Yeah, he's 7-5. What are you buzzing about? So
why wouldn't I be the coach at Oregon?
You really haven't had one, I think, that quite meets this criteria. And then also, it's kind of shaped up for now to say there's nothing on the radar. He's from Kansas City, is he not?
Yeah.
And
I don't know if he's from the area of Kansas
He's
City.
got tattoos of 4 other colleges on his body. He's not devoted to one. There's not some powerful alum backing the way Mario had Miami. It's
William Jewell College. I don't think he's going to be able to afford Dan Lanning.
Yeah, the entire
I don't think they can afford the
budget.
$20 million buyout.
So there's kind of this really good mix, I think, for them of saying he's earned the pay raise, no doubt. You're feeling good despite how it ended on the one game at the end of the year. And there's nothing that's frightening you the way that there have been with other ones in the past.
To that point, I think we already kind of knew what the roadmap was for Dan Lanning even before this extension or new deal, whatever amended deal you want to call it, is signed. And that was, I believe, right here on 1080 The Fan on primetime. Isaac and Suk were asking him, around the Alabama rumors coming out, and obviously before Kalen DeBoer took the job. I think he said, talking about his roots in Kansas City, the one dream job of his would be the Kansas City Chiefs job. That's probably not going to be open for another 5-6 seasons. I would assume he's here at Oregon until 2030. Maybe you're looking at that point, the elite job in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs job opening up. And if he's had the success that, any NFL team, they'd probably already want to grab him, but any NFL team that sees him winning a championship or 2 here would immediately hire him and pay him $20 million. But I'd say that's happening in 2030. But it will happen.
That's the thing about it, I think, for me, is you can highlight Kansas City because I remember him saying that, Schultze. But is it you don't want to be the guy after the guy? Reed said he's going to come back next year. And then I think it's just going to be a Kevin Durant 1-year thing every year. We'll see. And then it's I'm coming back. And then we'll see. I'm coming back. So it might be a year or 2.
I also love Dan Lanning. I don't know if he's the top of Kansas City's big board when Andy Reid does step away.
Well,
they might not want to go hire a college coach. We have no idea.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. I think that's the thing is, does the NFL scare you more than any other college gig?
Yes, the NFL is what's the only thing that scares me at this point.
That's the thing that scares you.
There's not another college job that could open up that would scare me at this point. I think he's smart enough to understand that this is a process. It's a building process. He's been a part of these. He was a part of it at Alabama. He was a part of it at Georgia. And the stat that I throw out there all the time for he hasn't won a big one, Kirby Smart, it took him 6 years at Georgia to win a national title. That'd be 3 more years for Dan Lanning in Eugene before he wins a national championship. It took Dabo 8 or 9 years. It took Ryan Day 6 or 7 years. It takes time to do this. You have to continue to build, continue to give yourself chances, keep upgrading, keep finding where your weaknesses are. There's a process to it. And so he seems like the kind of guy who is dead set on doing it in Eugene. And those are famous last words, but I have not felt this confidently about a coach not leaving anytime soon in a long time than I feel about Dan Lanning.
And final point on this I would make, because we're against it. I think the underrated part, I know he has moved around a little bit from what his resume says. His kids, and I say this as somebody who's in a similar situation, my kids are at a spot now that even if I ever wanted to live in a different city, I don't know if I really have an option because I'm going to get out-voiced in my own house. My kids are not at an age where they want to make new friends and go to new school. And
it's middle school, high school kind of territory you're encroaching on.
You have to make the best decision that's for your family, and sometimes kids have to just kind of adjust, right? So it's not an impossibility. I kind of just think he strikes me, and he has sounded like a guy that doesn't want, at this point of his kids' lives, to move them around to different schools. Not the coaches haven't, but
no,
he's really come off at least of, Yeah. If I ever do leave, and he says Oregon's his job forever, which we know that's coach speak, but if the NFL ever does come calling in 6 years, the kids are out of high school. The kids are off and they're doing their thing, and it's like, okay, Dad has already got a lot of time to work, but like he's got a little more time, and you're adults now. Like he just strikes me as doesn't want to move at this point, and some of that is maybe family related.
Yeah, very well could be. It's not easy to move those kids when they're that age.
It's not fun.
No.
You hear about it from the kids. They complain about it.
I mean, and also, the last thing on this, if I've joked about this for the last 2 to 3 years. If you were designing a system for college football and how it should work, and you said, hey, Phil Knight, Oregon, how do you want the system to look that benefits you the most? This is the system that they would draw up. So why would you walk away from that?
I don't know.
He's got every resource he needs to win. It's not easy to recruit because there's not a lot of blue chip guys within 5 miles of your school, like maybe there is in New Orleans or Georgia or Atlanta or wherever. So that's the one difficulty of it, but he's got every resource he needs to win.
We have a lot more to get into. We got Brady Henderson at the top of the hour for the Daily Ticker. Dirt and Sprague back with more. But first, Corn Pop with the sports update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Portland Trailblazers wrap up their 7-game road trip tonight in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. No DeAndre Ayton, Delano Banton, or Robert Williams III, though. Matisse Thybulle also out, but has he even played a game this season? Jeremy Grant and Denny Avdia questionable. The Thunder 3.5-point favorites in that one tip-off set for 5 p.m. And a ton of moves happening in the NFL. The Washington Commanders, they've signed linebacker Bobby Wagner to a 1-year deal. It's got $8 million included in guarantees. The 10-time Pro Bowler recorded more than 100 tackles for the 13th time in a row last season. And the Jaguars also making a couple of moves, releasing tight end Evan Ingram. It saves them $6 million in cap space. And they're also trading wide receiver Christian Kirk to the Houston Texans for a 6th-round pick in next year's draft. And in baseball, the A's handing out some more cash. They've signed outfielder Lawrence Butler to a 7-year, $65.5 million extension. The 24-year-old hit 22 whammies in his first full big league season in 2024. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The ultimate basketball party, Fan Madness, is back. March 20th and 21st at the Stadium Sports Bar at A&A Sportsbook. More info at This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
All right, Deal's calling his shot.
Oh, okay. We got a prediction?
Lanning replaces Andy Reid in 2030.
That's a pretty... I mean, look, if you had 5 more years...
I'll take 5 more years.
You just hope you get the title out
give me
of it
one.
before
Just
he
give me one.
departs. Yeah, gets on that bird.
Sprague replaces Softy in 2030. It's calling a shot.
I'm not sure Softy's ever going to get off the mic.
Softy would not be who gets replaced.
No, Softy's going to be. He's one of those guys you're going to have to drag his cold, dead carcass out of the studio.
He will be in the middle of a sentence when
Yes.
he's like 89 years old and then pass away. And then
Why are the Huskies so 74?
that's exactly how he'd want to go to.
It's one of those. It's one of those. That's how it's going to happen.
You could never work in Seattle, by the way.
I couldn't?
No.
I mean, I could. People would just hate me. I hate them.
Yeah, but I think they'd hate you to a point where it's like...
It wouldn't be fun to listen to.
People in our business always say, like, you want to be hated and you want to be liked. There's a sweet spot to it.
Oh, God.
And I'm just
So
like,
true.
have you ever been hated?
Idiot program
Because it's
director.
not great.
Only hated? Yeah.
But only hated, I don't think is a good thing.
Not too many endearing things I could say. The Kraken kind of suck.
Well, you have a lot of tape and tweets, and your gear is all Oregon. I don't know if it would work well for you.
Mariners
How would
are
the Mariner
irrelevant.
conversation... Actually, that might resonate.
I mean,
well.
I would hope
Yeah.
that would resonate if you got a brain as a fan.
You might become Mr. Mariner.
You should believe what I'm saying. I know what I'm talking about here. Have you guys had sex?
Yes. Like ever?
Yeah.
Like with each other or just ever?
No, just in general.
Yes.
In general,
I
you've
still
had sex?
have my V card.
You
I have
do?
2 children.
Okay.
I have my V card.
Well, when you do,
Congratulations, Joseph.
when you turn that card in,
You know it. We've been blessed.
there was a guy in the NFL who made a comparison to sex, and I thought it was kind of perfect, and I wanted to play this. So this came, the Philadelphia Eagles, if you don't know, they just won the Super Bowl. And Howie Roseman, their GM, is now a known sex haver after this interview.
Okay.
And here he is comparing.
Got a sex problem already?
He's got what, you got a sex addiction
You win a
there?
Super Bowl. It's amazing the amount of women that just throw themselves at you.
Oh, Dave Canales better not ever win a Super Bowl.
Better
then.
watch out, dude. That guy's in trouble. Here is Howie Roseman making a comparison to winning 2 different Super Bowls and the different feeling.
So I'd say like the first one's almost like, can I say this, Bob?
Yes,
Can we delete this? Is this live? You don't know what I'm saying? You don't know what
This is the best part. You can be you.
It's almost like the first time you have sex. You're so glad you had sex. It's not even the quality of it. The second
Perfect.
time,
That's actually great.
The second time, it's like, wow, I could actually have fun and enjoy this.
So Howie Roseman says winning Super Bowls is like having sex. The first time you do it, you're just like, wow, I can't believe it happened. There's a lot of anxiety. Your heart's racing. Am I actually going to do this? And then you get done with it. And then the second time you're able to kind of, enjoy, turn on the music, light a candle. Let's enjoy the moment, enjoy the room, enjoy the ambiance. Howie Roseman says winning Super Bowls like having sex.
He's probably right.
Yeah.
You could maybe argue, and there's the hot take here. Better.
Wait, sex is better than winning a Super Bowl, or
No.
Super Bowl is better than having sex?
I mean, everybody can have sex. Not everybody.
Not
gets to
everybody's
be the
got a
guy
Super
that
Bowl.
Wins the
Can
Super Bowl.
everybody
Not
have
everybody's-
sex, though?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's way. I mean, yeah, yeah.
There's,
If you're persistent enough, you can
I
make-
think there's a couple million incels online that'd be like, you're making me
Okay,
mad."
all right. Whatever it is, 98% of the world
the
can.
majority of people have the ability to do that.
And 99.9% of the people will never be responsible for building a Super Bowl roster.
No, they won't.
So, good
Good sex
comp.
is great and all, but have you ever won 2 Super Bowls? I kind of did one of those on us.
What lasts longer?
Probably the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably. Not probably. If you're lasting longer than a Super Bowl, buddy.
Good for you.
I got some feature-length films you should probably be starring in at this point. If you're How long did that Super Bowl take? After that halftime show, that was like a 4.5-hour game, man.
Yeah, you should get a paycheck
Howie
for
Roseman
that.
strike you as like a romantic lover? Is he like
I think he does. I think after that clip,
I've got
he does.
tape I have to scout.
I just thought it was hilarious that an NFL GM came out and somebody said, what's it like winning Super Bowls? And that's where his mind went of like, it's like having sex.
Well, isn't that what that gives you? That Super Bowl affords you the ability to basically kind of say almost anything.
Dude, that guy can do whatever he wants for the next 3 years until they get booed off the field at the opening night, hanging the banner because they're down 10-7 and the offense isn't clicking.
Probably, yeah.
These guys are bums.
He strikes me as a very eager lover. Like, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah,
like
he's
Tom
an eager
Cruise
guy, yeah.
kind of eager.
Very ready to get after it. Let's go, baby.
It's like, hey, I got a 10-minute window. Great.
Let's
so
come on.
deep. It's so long.
He doesn't strike me as that.
Doesn't strike you as that kind of guy?
Some people can
More of this
surprise you.
says that to his wife as he walks in the room.
He's married, by the way.
He
So
is?
We know he's doing that.
I'm assuming he's got kids.
Anybody do a follow with his wife? Like, hey, what did you think about this comment? Like, she probably chuckles and says, he's right.
Well, she probably wasn't the first to, or maybe she was. I don't know. You never know. To each their own. However you want to do your journey, you do your journey.
I thought sex ended when marriage started. I love how you just say, he's married, having sex. And I'm like, I think there's a lot of
men
people out there that
in
would
America
disagree.
Would probably agree.
They would probably laugh and cry at that
They'd be
statement,
like,
Schulte.
damn it, Jordan, you're right. I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just like, God, we all need to find some love
Now,
out there,
if we
okay?
land Cooper Flag, is it possible Cronin drops a line like this?
Getting the number 1 overall pick is like having sex?
Getting Cooper Flag is better than sex?
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
If
That's a
you
good poll
turn your
question. Is getting
1%,
Cooper Flag for your NBA team better than sex?
so what are their? Let me see their lottery odds currently.
They're 10th.
So what is the percentage chance of the number 10 team to get the?
What, like 2 or 3.4%,
It's
something around there?
So right now, the Blazers' chance of getting the number 1 overall pick is 3%. 3 with the 10th, and if Orlando passes them or they pass Orlando, they'll be down to 2%.
At this point,
Sinking
just
like
go
a stone.
for the damn
If they
plan.
catch Phoenix, they're down to 1.5%. If you get to 13th or 14th, it's down to 1% or a half of a percent.
Well,
So-
they're not. I don't think they get there.
They
could
could
pass
get Dallas.
Phoenix.
They could get Dallas.
They could pass Phoenix. They're probably going to lose. Well, they might win tonight. Did you see who Oklahoma City's not playing?
They're not playing anybody.
Everyone.
I saw the
They
line.
waved the white flag.
I was looking on DraftKings last night,
3.5
scrolling around. I'm like,
points.
why is OKC? What?
Because they want to play us.
Yeah,
They get us in round 1. That's an easy sweep for them.
I don't blame them.
I wouldn't either.
So 3% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick. If you land that number 1 overall pick, that's definitely better than having sex.
Hell yeah. I think with those odds, yes.
With
I
those
agree
odds,
with you, yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's Cooper Flag. Not even close. So, Howie Roseman, love the honesty there. I heard that the other day. I thought that was pretty funny. He's feeling himself. He just won his 2nd Super Bowl. And he said, I was able to enjoy it a little bit more this time than I was the first time around. We could dive into a couple of NBA notes because you mentioned who OKC is not playing tonight. Also, what we need to keep our eye on as a Blazer fans going into the weekend. We will talk to Brady Henderson coming up top of the hour. What does he make of the DK Metcalf trade request? All that's still to come. We're back after this on The Fan.
Who's stinking it up?
Do not go in there.
It's time for Who's Stinking It Up, a sports lowlight that's ripped from the headlines.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
Brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services. Schedule your appointment online at threemountainshomservices.com.
Now it's Anunoby on Doncic. The switch again. Doncic over Towns. Oh, my! Oh, Luka Doncic!
He's one of my favorite voices in NBA. Dirt doesn't like him as much. Brian Anderson on TNT. Luka Doncic is great. 30 and 10, the 5th Laker to ever have back-to-back games of 30 and 10. The Lakers come back from double digits, beat the Knicks in overtime, who lost Brunson, and extend their winning streak to 8.
And in true NBA fashion, the biggest headline coming out of the game is that LeBron James confronted Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. Smith gets to talk about it on First Take today.
Also made $100 million. I think Stephen A. won yesterday. Who's stinking it up? The Knicks, unfortunately, last night, and the Dallas Mavericks. Hey, March is the best time to upgrade your furnace and AC. Beat the buzzer. Grab a sweet $1,600 off a full system replacement before time runs out. Schedule now. 3MountainsHomeservices.com. That's 3MountainsHomeservices.com. 3 Mountains Home Services makes home services delightful.
Hey, everybody. Sprague here.
Crunch time. Let's go! Where Dirt and Sprague crunch the hot topics you want to hear.
What's the pressure? Don't sit here and act like there's no... We get nervous teeing off in front of a gallery on the 10th hole at Eastmoreland.
Crunch time, brought to you by Crunch Fitness, with memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com.
Hey, Crunch Time, brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. Brady Henderson coming up top of the hour.
By the way, the poll question is up. Is landing Cooper Flagg on your NBA team better than sex? Yes or no?
I've already voted.
Yes is winning right now.
Yeah, I already voted. Yes, not even close. Not even close. And that has led to further conversation at the fan text line, 503-864-6326.
Now, some would say have better sex. And maybe you'd be thinking about this question more.
No doubt about it.
Or be better at it.
Be better at it. I think at this point in life, that boat's probably sailed. I kind of am who I am. I got my toolkit. I know how to use my toolkit. It's about all I got.
I think there's levels. Like you could hey, sex with Lizzo or sex with Olivia Dunn. I don't know who prefers what here, but I think some people would choose Olivia Dunn like me, and I'd say I'd probably choose that over a Super Bowl.
Well, sure. We're talking about having sex with the person that you're going to have sex with for the rest of your life.
Well,
that doesn't always apply for most of America. Doesn't have that.
See, now we're just...
I wish on my tombstone it just said, I wish I was better. And it could apply to so many aspects of my entire
million different
life.
things. Am I talking about golf, bedroom? Who knows?
All of it, actually.
All the above.
Too many people practicing, what is it called? Ethical non-monogamy now or whatever?
I don't know what that is.
What?
I don't know what that is.
Ethical non-monogamy?
It's where you sleep with other people and you're still together. And it's just a fancy name for it. It's basically a fancy name for swinging, I think.
I don't know where we're going right now.
That you can sleep with anybody for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to be the person that you're with right now.
I just wanted to add to the conversation. I shouldn't have said his name, so if you heard the name, just go ahead and erase it from your memory. One of our listeners said, I would give up sex for an Oregon football national championship. I'm 50 years old. I'm married. I have children. You're up, Ducks. And another one adds, now, here's the good follow-up.
Another good poll question. Would you give up? Well, how long are you doing that for?
Until they win one? Like, how long do I have to go giving it up until... Am I guaranteed one?
If I tell you got to go...
There's got to be a guarantee at the end of this.
Years.
Not just like in general, you go celibate and maybe they win one. There's no point in that. And I'm guaranteed to win a national championship.
You'll get it next year, but you got to go a calendar 2.5
Oh, in the aftermath of the celebration, I can't...
No, the build-up to it and after. It's 2.5 years. Come on.
Yeah, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would.
That's tough.
I would. For a national title, I would.
I would. Poor wife.
What did Michael Scott say?
You have nobody to blame but yourself for what happens in the future.
What an Addy, man. What an Addy. Just give me one. Mom, just give me one.
What happened to Mom?
Why is my older brother so much older than me? Well, funny story, Billy.
Uncle Dale was just here and you weren't here, Dad.
Somebody asking, how long would you each agree to not have sex for in exchange for the Blazers getting Cooper Flagg?
None.
None at all?
I ain't playing this game.
You don't love the Blazers, huh? You don't want to be happy as a fan?
I love
Don't
my
be a little
wife
10
more.
seed,
I love
the
my
Western
wife.
Conference.
Nah,
no hope, no dream.
We don't need Flagg. We got Tumani.
You're not going anywhere.
I'd rather have that on a Wednesday night. You know what I mean?
You'd ever have one of those?
3 seconds. Tumani, Kamara, Scoot. We're good. I don't need Cooper.
Schultz, how long you going for Cooper Flagg?
I think I'm actually with Sprague on this. I don't think I would.
Hey, come on.
To the room, Daddy!
If you were asking me,
well, it's different because with Cooper Flagg, we think that he's going to be good, but it's not a guarantee that he's going to be good. Like the Oregon
That's why
one,
I'm not willing to give it up.
Right, you're guaranteeing me a national championship.
What if
That's different than saying you get Cooper Flagg, who I think could be good, but what does that mean for the Blazers? I don't know.
I mean, if you ask me, like, hey, if the Mariners were to get Shohei Ohtani guaranteed,
how long for a Mariners World Series?
Oh. Now you've got him in a dilemma.
Now he's in a pickle.
Now he's popping.
Now he's in a pickle. Third baseman to catcher, third baseman to catcher. Here comes the pitcher to the shortstop. He's in a pickle.
So sad you guys are willing to do
6 months.
That's it.
That's it. 6 months.
You don't care about the Mariners.
Because 2.5 years. They're not.
I thought you were a bigger fan than that. I thought I'm guaranteeing you they're going to win one.
So this is a guarantee.
A guarantee.
So this is an even trade off.
Not a chance. A guarantee they win a World Series.
2 years. You said 2.5. I'll go 2.
So can I ask you this very quickly? What if I told you couldn't until your team won the title, but I tell you they will I just don't tell you
when it's going to happen. I wouldn't take that
Ouch.
deal.
No,
I wouldn't take that
you
deal.
can't take that
You
deal.
can't take, because it
Too
could be
risky.
next year, it could be in 9 years. You have no
One
clue.
injury every year, and
Yes.
your entire thing is shot.
Is your wife allowed to divorce you while this deal is in place?
No, she's not allowed to leave. She's an agreeing
She
participant.
is.
She's
We
allowed to
believe in
walk
a
away.
woman's right to choose, so yes.
So yes, she.
she's
Well,
allowed.
Somebody said I have a 50-50
Starting to
chance to
clarify.
go and hold and sleep with my wife, so only 1% chance to get Cooper Flagg. Flagg's definitely better than having sex, so there you go. The poll question is up. Go vote. Didn't get to my NBA weekend. We'll get to that coming up at the final hour of the show.
Yeah, we got a Blazer Thunder tilt tonight.
We have a Blazer Thunder tilt, an old Sonics Blazers rivalry revisited.
You know they're younger than us?
I thought we were the youngest team in the league. Don't we tout that?
We're second.
Number
They
two.
are the youngest.
So the best team in the NBA is the youngest team in the league?
Yeah,
or second best
that
team
would-
in the,
that would-
depending on record?
And they own almost everybody's draft pick.
yeah.
If the Heat are finishing outside the top 13, the Thunder get their pick. If the Sixers finish outside of the top 6, the Thunder get their pick.
And if we make the playoffs, we lose our first round pick.
Chicago gets our pick.
We got a lot to get to. In the final hour of the show, Crunch Time as always, brought to you by our good friends at Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver online at crunch.com. NBA weekend, we'll get to that coming up, but let's start with the Daily Ticker in the final hour. Brady Henderson, what's going on with DK Metcalf? What's the long-term plan at quarterback? How are things going to look in the offseason for Seattle? Brady Henderson, our good friend of ESPN. We'll kick off the final hour next on 1080 The Fan.
You ever try fixing your car?
The Fan.
First on the Fan, the Portland Trail Blazers wrapping up their 7-game road trip tonight in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. Thunder sitting a lot of players, and Portland going to be without DeAndre Ayton, Delano Banton, and Robert Williams III as well. Jeremy Grant and Denny Avdia are questionable. The Thunder just 3.5-point favorites, though. Tip-off set for 5 p.m. Couple of moves out of the NFL. The Washington Commanders bringing back veteran linebacker Bobby Wagner on a 1-year deal worth $8 million in guarantees. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are trading wideout Christian Kirk to the Texans for a 6th-round pick in next year's draft. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. In this wide world of sports, some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
Pelican Brewing presents The Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague hit the big stories you've heard about. And some you haven't.
How'd you do that? Actually, I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague is poured by Pelican Brewing. Take a break with Pelican's Beak Breaker, the Northwest's favorite double IPA. Pelican Brewing Company. Cheers, fellow fanatics.
All right, Daily Ticker time to start the final hour. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends at Pelican Brewing. Meet the newest Beak Breaker Hazy Double IPA with bold hops and smooth haze. Crack open a can and celebrate game day in style. Let's talk to our good friend Brady Henderson for the Ticker today. Go up to Seattle. Is he or is he not on a boat? We'll find out in a moment. He covers the Seahawks for ESPN. At Brady Henderson on Twitter. You will give him a follow. Brady, good morning to you. Are you on a boat?
I am on a boat, yes, and I will be on a boat probably for the next, I don't know, for the foreseeable future. Because I got a flat tire last night, but mainly because, my third one in a month, if you can believe that.
Oh.
But mainly because, unbelievable. But mainly because I think that something, if not multiple things, could happen with the Seahawks, like, big breaking news here any minute between now and the start of free agency. So I'm going to be glued to my computer, glued to my phones, calling, texting, and maybe writing about some pretty significant Seahawks news.
Well, there's some big Seahawk news and some stuff we need to discuss, but we do need to ask then, what kind of man is Brady Henderson? Did you change your own flat tire, or did you each time, in the bad luck of getting 3, have somebody come out and fix it?
Well, my car, as I learned after, one of these flat tires, is my car did not come with a spare. It came with one of those like, one of the pumps that you basically plug into your adapter in your car, and then you hook it up to the tire and it pumps it up. But a couple of the flat last night was so bad that the air was being pumped in, and the hole was so big in the tire that it was just going right back out. So I had to call AAA. Yeah, it was a bad deal.
This is just brutal, man. As somebody who I had 2 flat tires in a span of like a year, and I thought that was bad. That many in that short amount of time. That's brutal luck. But just be thankful at least that nobody got traded while you were in the middle of dealing with the flat tire. So let's get to that. Lockett's released, and in the same day we get a DK Metcalf trade. How did the team react to that? Because I've heard some scuttlebutt that they're not thrilled that it happened on the same day. And are you surprised with where we're at right now with DK Metcalf?
In terms of the Lockett stuff, they were not happy with that. I was told that privately. I think the GM said that on the radio yesterday, that they had, really wanted that day to be all about Lockett and celebrating his 10-year run in Seattle. Now, I don't know that Lockett necessarily was all that upset by it. I heard somebody close to him tell me that, he didn't really care. But I think the Seahawks cared, and whether it was intentional or not, the timing was unfortunate. Now, in terms of DK, I think that this is mostly, the vast majority of this is contract related. I do kind of wonder, though, if there is some, just maybe some bad blood that has built up over the years. And look, this happens sometimes when a really high profile player, wants to be paid and the two sides don't see eye to eye. And I don't think this is a case necessarily of the Seahawks just wanting to move on from DK Metcalf. I think they've made him a pretty strong offer, and he just doesn't see it. He doesn't see that as being in line with what his value is. And so I do think that this trade is going to happen. I think it's, they're not going to give him away, but I think there's going to be enough interest. If I had to guess, there'd be enough interest in a 27-year-old receiver, who's 6'3", with 4.3 speed and plenty of durability and plenty of production over 6 seasons. I would think that there would be enough for the Seahawks to get a return package that would be worth their while.
Well, kind of a two-parter then. One, when do you think it started building for us to get to this point? I follow what you write and what you cover. I watch the Seahawks play football on Sunday, Monday, or Thursdays. He seemed like he was kind of always trending in a little frustration this year. I don't know if that's an accurate way of saying it, but when did we start getting here, and what is the proper trade stuff to acquire DK? Is it going to involve really a first and the third, or are they willing to settle for something else?
Well, in terms of how it got to this point, I've heard some stuff that he may have been unhappy last season. I don't know enough about that yet to really talk with any level of authority on it. So I'll hold off on that for now. But I do think it's possible that this was something that's been brewing with him. And I still think it's the vast majority of this is just business. It's contract related. But I do wonder if maybe there's been some stuff going on behind the scenes. But I won't speculate on that any further just because I don't know enough about it. In terms of what happens from here, I have said all along that, if you're going to trade DK Metcalf, a guy who's still in his prime, and again, healthy, durable, productive, young, all that, you shouldn't do it for less than a first-round pick or something of equivalent value. So even if it's not a first-round pick, maybe it's a second and a third that, if you just look at whatever draft value chart you want to use, that maybe the combined value of those two picks is equivalent to a first-round pick. I just don't think I don't see any sense in, giving him away for anything significantly less than that. So in terms of where he ends up, I think Vegas is a team to keep in mind just with the Pete Carroll connection. I can't imagine Vegas would want to give up the 6th overall pick, and I don't think that would necessarily be a totally equitable trade, but could Vegas give up, its second rounder, number 37 overall, so an early second, and then maybe one of its 2/3? I think that would be a fair return package, something like that for DK. But just look at the teams that need receiver help. Look at the teams that have the cap space to do a big deal like that. Not that the first-year cap hit, assuming he gets a new deal from that new team. Not that first-year cap hit is, those are typically pretty low anyways. But I think that the one thing that was really telling with John Schneider's interview on his radio show yesterday in Seattle was, he was talking about how he was adamant about how much they need to do what's right for the Seahawks, first and foremost, as opposed to DK Metcalf. And when he says it like that, that makes me think that was a conversation that he had with DK Metcalf. And the way I would interpret that conversation is that the Seahawks are going to trade DK to the team that gives them the best return package, not necessarily the team where DK Metcalf wants to play.
Interesting. Brady Henderson is our guest, covering the Seahawks for ESPN, one of our favorites, at Brady Henderson on Twitter. You go give him a follow there. My co-host and I got into a little bit of a debate yesterday about Seattle and just the direction that they're heading and, what a successful year next year would look like. This DK stuff's hanging over their head. We'll see if he's traded, if he's back, how that's all going to shake out. Then he made the argument that if they make the playoffs next year, they won 10 games this year, came damn close. You beat the Giants at home. Hell, you win the division this year. That it would be a huge step and it would be a building block for them as a franchise. And I don't disagree with the entire premise of it. But the biggest issue that I have about them as an organization right now is I don't know what their plan is at the most important position on the field. And so you could tell me they take a step next year, maybe you win 11 games, maybe you make the playoffs, hell, maybe even win a wild card game. You're dealing with maybe a 35-year-old quarterback is there a backup plan there? What do you make of what they're going to do at quarterback and what the long-term plan is at that position?
Yeah, that is the billion-dollar question with them right now, just because I don't think, I think that they've had, as much as, the people on the radio, people in my job have talked about kind of the long-term viability of Geno Smith as their starter. I mean, they're not blind to that. They have those same questions, I believe, and that's why, they structured that last contract the way that they did, which was, the 3-year, $75 million extension that was structured in a way that would have allowed them to move on after that first season. So after 2023, it would have allowed them to move on as early as the 2024 offseason with, pretty manageable dead cap hits, if they felt like, either Geno Smith really regressed and or if a better option came along. So, Geno's been, I would say, pretty good, but not great since then. He's had his inconsistencies that we all know about with the interceptions and some of the sacks that he takes too. And, but the better option hasn't come along. And I think they were hoping that Sam Howell would be that. I mean, when they made that trade, they didn't really come out and say it publicly, I think because they wanted to, throw their support behind Geno after kind of being non-committal publicly to him early in that last offseason. But I know a lot of people in that building thought that there's a chance that, Sam Howell could eventually replace Geno. That obviously did not happen. And there's nothing that Sam Howell showed last offseason would, between training camp and that disastrous relief appearance in December against the Packers, nothing that he showed would, I think, give anybody confidence that he could be that guy. I think he could be a very good backup, and, maybe he could eventually develop into kind of a low-end starter, but I don't see viable replacement unless you want to go slog through a 5-12 season and end up picking early in the draft next year, which they don't want to do that. So, yeah, what is the long-term plan? That is a great question, and I don't really have an answer to you, and I don't think this draft presents a lot of great answers either, unless you want to take a flyer on, somebody like Jackson Dart or Quinn Ewers in, the second round, something like that. But even then, you're still probably committing to Geno for the season and hoping that one of those rookies could, maybe develop into that. But yeah, it is the $1 million question with them right now.
How hot is the John Schneider seat with this draft? Like, how important is this draft for John Schneider? It feels like people up there are starting to, if they're not already, be in the camp of like, okay, McDonald's defense clearly made the step. The ownership group has been fine because they love the Seahawks. A lot of these draft picks have been questionable for many. I'm curious how hot is that seat for John Schneider going into this coming season, going into this year's draft? They're sitting at 18. Where is all that at?
It's always a hard question to ask because I think Jody Allen is the most mysterious owner in all of the NFL. And, it's pretty easy to get a read on what Jerry Jones is thinking. And in terms of like media availability, those are the two opposite ends of the spectrum. And so it's hard to know like what Jody Allen is going to be thinking. I would say that any owner, if they trade DK Metcalf, and if that ends up as poorly for Seattle as it did for, John Robinson and the Titans a couple years ago when they traded A.J. Brown to Philadelphia, then, yeah, something like that. I could see that, really ownership really looking, poorly on that. But, I do think that that Schneider I would imagine that he bought a lot of, points and maybe even some grace with Jody Allen with the way that Russell Wilson trade went down a couple years ago and just how much, frankly, the Seahawks fleeced Denver in that trade and had the foresight to know that Wilson was declining and then negotiated. Schneider did, a hell of a deal with his Broncos counterpart. So, but the fact of the matter is if Jody Allen could move on from Pete Carroll, then she could move on from John Schneider. So it's just really hard to say with any level of confidence, like what it would take, how bad this season would have to go for that to happen, just because we've never heard from Jody Allen.
Hey, we haven't either.
Same
in
here.
Portland. Very similar.
I know. You guys know all about it.
We are very aware of that.
We've
one.
at least heard that she cares about the Seahawks and loves football, whereas like in the NBA, the team tells us she cares, but like
I just not quite sure.
Any
cool new additions to the boat?
New additions to the boat. Let's see. I'm looking around. Not really. No, my girlfriend, for Valentine's Day, we painted pictures of each other. And let's just say that the picture she drew of me was a lot better than the one that I drew of her. So that's featured prominently in my living room right now. But other than that, no real additions.
So painting in a boat, it obviously makes one come to this question. Did she paint you like one of her French girls?
That's a reference. What is that? Titanic?
Yeah.
There you go.
I've never seen it. I've never seen the movie.
You've never seen the Titanic?
Never seen the Titanic.
Never seen it. No, your jaw would drop at the list of famous movies I have never seen, and I'm I want to be a guest on this program again, so I'm not going to tell you some of those movies. But Titanic is one of them.
That's okay. We don't shame. Hey, we're on the trust tree here.
No
Brady.
movie
it's
shame.
Okay, yeah,
And
no movie shaming.
I want you to be back, so I hate just telling. It's basically I was asking if she painted you nude.
Yeah, we get a naked Brady Henderson on the wall.
No. Fully clothed.
Okay.
Thankfully,
no tarps
Nobody
off,
needs
nothing
to
like
see.
that. No.
Flannel and jeans, huh?
Yeah. That's a good looking photo.
No, we keep it PG rated here on my boat.
There you go.
I like that.
Brady Henderson covers the Seahawks on his boat for ESPN at Brady Henderson on Twitter, one of our favorites. He may not have seen the Titanic, but he's doing great reporting on the Seahawks, and go give him a follow and read his reporting on what's going to happen in the DK Metcalf situation. Sorry about the tires, Brady, but glad you got a boat, and let's do this again soon.
Yeah, I heard that Titanic sinks at the end of the movie. Is that right?
It does.
I didn't want to say that either, but
it does. Yeah.
Sorry to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it like me.
God, Brady, come on, man. There. Good stuff, Brady
Just
Henderson.
don't go on a little sub to go check it out.
Don't go down there. Don't go down to the bottom of the water there. So he thinks, look, a little bit of ruffled feathers behind the scenes. DK maybe looking at Vegas. He threw Vegas out as an option. We talked about them earlier in the sweepstakes. And this is one of those, it's very similar to the way I talk about Portland finding a star in the NBA. It's like, I understand that it's not an easy thing to do. Like, you just, hey, let's go find a star, build a team around him. Like, I understand that it's a very difficult thing to accomplish. If I were a Seahawk fan, I would have such a hard time with just constantly thinking about, what are we doing at quarterback? What are we doing?
How many teams say that, though?
Oh, a ton of them. They're not alone in that category.
You should count during the break how many teams you
are
would
saying
say in your mind.
If I was a fan of that team, I'd be saying, what the hell are we doing at this position?
Also, I would be so bad at painting my wife. She would
I would
be
be too. It'd be terrible.
offended by it.
I did one of those paint and date things one time with my wife.
They give you like a vase of flowers and you paint whatever's up there.
Yeah, they give you like a glass of wine.
I've never done that.
That's terrible. I have no artistic bones in my body.
I'm so bad at drawing and painting.
Terrible. My wife's actually relatively good at it.
Me too.
And so they get done, you're like, oh, great, cool. I look like a fourth grader.
Yeah,
Can't even color within the lines here.
Stick figures.
She actually painted me a
That's our
portrait
family.
of Ken Griffey Jr., one of his famous swings. Like, my wife is really good, so I just don't even try.
That's a great gift.
It's
badass
great,
gift.
and it's on like a sound panel in my room.
That's cool.
So it's really fun.
Well, how many teams are asking that question? We'll answer that. Also, the Blazers are back in action tonight in Oklahoma City, and nobody's playing in the game, so that's cool. We'll get to that next on The Fan.
It's time for a sports injury report. The injuries and rehab that impact the success of sports teams. Brought to you by Rock Orthopedic.
Brunson to the rack. Oh, look out! James got the block, the foul. Was on Reeves. Brunson down in a heap, rolled his ankle, it looked like.
That would be a good drop right there. That was last night on TNT. I didn't see this live because I was asleep. I saw the highlight when I woke up this morning, and it made me cringe. Jalen Brunson out for the foreseeable future with a nasty-looking ankle injury.
Yeah, there's Dr. Evan Jeffries on Twitter that famously is a sports doctor, and he gives out just thoughts on rewatching the video. X-ray will need to rule out the fracture. Grade 1 is 1 to 2 weeks. Grade 2 sprain is a 3 to 6. Grade 3, which would be the worst possible thing, 6 to 12 weeks.
Not good.
It looked awful, man. His ankle bone touched the floor.
Not ideal. Sports Injury Report presented by Rock Orthopedic, board-certified specialists who diagnose and treat the widest range of orthopedic cases with care and expertise. To schedule an appointment with Dr. John Cohen, visit rocpdx.com.
The Herd with Cullen This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Good point from Larry. Since Brady Henderson's a national sports media reporter, someone should have probably asked him his workout routine, personal training situation. From Corn Pop's take yesterday, if you're a national reporter and you're on television.
We also should have asked if he's ever had beef with another media member.
We've seen Brady Henderson. He's an in-shape guy. Very nice guy.
Very fit.
Very fit guy.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of those people, there are a couple exceptions to the rule. I saw a tweet about Brian Windhorst yesterday. That's the exception. That's not who I'm talking about in the normal.
Wendy's a friend of the program.
Most of them look like,
Brady's
like
also a
Ian
stick.
Rappaport, like a Brady Henderson.
Good golfer,
He's better
too.
than Dirt.
I'm really jealous.
Yeah.
He's in good shape, lives on a boat.
No kids.
He's a good golfer.
Wait, is it like a boat in the marina in
He
Seattle?
lives on a boat.
So we can just walk right up to Lumen Field or walk up to T-Mobile?
I don't know where he parks his boat.
I think he's closer to the Renton practice facility would make a little more sense than the stadium.
Is there a dock down there you could park at if you got a boat? I've never seen over the edge because we've been to the practice facility. But
You don't remember the planes landing in the water?
I guess I do remember the planes, yeah. So I guess that makes sense. They can dock there.
I'd imagine he's somewhere in that area just because you're at the facility more than you're probably at
How
Lumen.
cool would that be to take a boat to work every day?
My God,
I don't think
pretty
jet
badass.
ski
or something.
He had 3 flat tires and he drives.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that would be cool to take a boat to work every day.
Well, I guess I have a lot of
AKA
questions about boat houses.
DDPCS. What was our?
Forget. Dirt's
Diamond
Pontoon
Club. DDPC.
Yes, the DDPC.
The DDPC. Like, this is what I want to do for work.
I've given you gold of a company name and you can't remember it?
DDPC. Takes me a while.
How often do you take your house out? I don't want to waste our entire conversation with him on these questions, but people
just
that
curious,
are on legit
yeah.
boats, not
Like he
floating
lives
houses.
on a boat.
Yeah, do you pull the anchor up?
This is a real boat, not a houseboat.
But it's got a bedroom and it's got he lives on the boat.
You can still drive the houseboats, like it's not far, but you can go from
puddle around.
marina to marina.
You seen these abandoned houseboats on our rivers?
Yes.
Terrible. Are you not noticing this?
No.
Are you noticing more like yacht-like boats floating in the river?
Not really. No, I guess I don't look closely at the river.
People just leaving crap now.
They're just leaving them.
Just leaving them.
They're
just
floating
see you
piles
later.
of junk.
That's not very good. I did the math in the commercial break. The number of teams that if I were a fan of that team, I would say, what the hell are we doing?
You're just wondering at quarterback.
At quarterback. Not in general, just at quarterback.
Okay.
What are we doing?
List them off for me.
The total is 14 teams.
Okay, so half the league, basically.
I'm not going to give you a pass. High
What do you mean
standards.
you're gonna give you a pass?
High standards. Here are your teams. Some of these you might agree with or not agree with.
List teams that I would still throw in this because people disagree on paying or not paying guys.
And I might have listed teams in here that people would say, well, I know what they're doing at quarterback. Why would you list them? The Jets.
Yeah, we have no clue.
Dolphins.
They paid.
I know they paid. I'm just saying, but I can't stay healthy. Concussions are a pretty serious issue.
Can't win in the cold.
Can't win in the cold.
Paid a lot of money to the receivers, but
if
you
I
need
were a
run
Dolphins
game and
fan, I would be asking, what are we doing at quarterback? The Cowboys, I would be asking that question with Dak Prescott. Some people might disagree, but
They
I would.
restructured and they paid.
They did restructure. The Giants, obviously.
Yeah.
The Steelers, obviously. The Browns, easy one. The Colts, rookie. Let's say competition. You know,
They already want him out.
make him work for his job. The Jags, I would be asking that with the Jags and Trevor Lawrence.
They just paid.
I know
him,
that they
dude.
paid, but I would still be asking the question. The Titans, obviously.
Okay, but your question about Geno, we may disagree to some extent on Geno or what is successful. I do agree with the overall point. I just think it's impossible to run a team going, in 4 years, we'll be doing this. The Jags are not a question. And you can not like Lawrence all you want. I'm kind of one of these. I don't think I'm in on him as a franchise guy. They just signed the deal. He will be their quarterback for at least 2 to 3 more seasons. There's not really a question.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I would be asking the question, what are we doing?
Okay.
That's the point. What are we doing?
All right.
What are we doing? Who else I got? Titans, obviously, number 1 pick. They might answer that in the draft. The Panthers, Bryce Young, nice end of the season, but, what are we doing? Saints, obvious reasons.
Derek Carr, that's what you're doing.
What the hell are we doing? Seahawks would fall in that category. The Raiders would fall in that category. And the Arizona Cardinals would fall in that category. Those are my teams that I would be asking, what are we doing?
What about the Niners?
We'll see what the number ends up being for Brock Purdy. And then I might add them to the...
Well, don't you want to answer the what are you doing question before you get the money?
What are we doing? I mean, I know what you're doing, but do I want to do it at that amount of money? That's a lot of money. Is it $55 million a year? Then it's, what are we doing? Is it $45 million? A little more palatable. We'll see how it goes.
What if he goes for like 41? What if he just
then
does
it's,
the
hey,
ultimate team thing?
Then I'm not asking, what are we doing? That's not the question that's getting asked.
Do you think another team would give him 50 other than the Niners?
I think some teams definitely.
I think we just went through. There's a lot of teams that are really desperate for starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Like
so
the Saints,
yeah,
a couple years from now.
yeah. I think there's somebody out there that would definitely pay him.
If you read about Darnold, it's very interesting. I don't know who the team that's going to pay him is, and I'm not saying he won't get paid. He has certainly earned some sort of deal, but I want you to name the team. Because I don't think you can yet. Nobody is coming up with a team.
No, they're not.
That makes the most. Like people
that
say
to
the
me
Raiders.
is one. Yeah, that's to me is when you wait closer to draft time when you get a better indicator of where
who's going where,
who's got what pick, and how the teams feel. Or maybe even after draft time, where teams say, "Hey, we'd like to get a rookie on a cheaper deal," but then we don't get the chance to sign him, and that's the move that we want to make.
But if I'm a Raiders fan, would I rather my team draft Shador Jackson Dart or pay Darnold $100 million?
Yeah.
And because I am not with you on him, and I will agree that he had a great year. Your MVP Darnold Niner ticket was hilarious. Also was kind of valid for the following season, and I didn't see that coming by a mile.
Here he comes.
I also just don't know if he can do what he did with O'Connell again,
Yeah.
and not that Kelly can't tap into that, but
no,
it's a big commitment versus swinging on a guy that's not going to cost me a lot. And that may ultimately bite me too.
It very well could. It's been one good year for him in his career. There's no guarantee that he does it again. One good year does not mean that it's going to continue year in and year out.
I think after the Super Bowl, Kansas City should be on your list.
I think they should.
What are we doing?
Guy's a bump. Can't win 3 in a row. Get rid of him. I think it's time to trade him. Probably cut him.
Baltimore?
Time to move on.
What are we doing?
Definitely can't win the big one. Question at the fan text line for NBA Dirt. Brunson out. Can Milwaukee catch New York for the 3 seed? Would love to get the Celtics versus Bucks in the second round. I guess if Sprague,
tell me.
if Sprague has thoughts, we'll let him add his thoughts. But NBA Dirt will answer your NBA questions and talk about the Blazers who are playing tonight against nobody. Why is nobody playing against us? Will this trend ever end? That's next. But first, here's Schulte with a update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
All right, first on the Fan, I got a pretty fun one today. Going back a little bit of a call to my sports card ripping days, but a Cheeto shaped like the beloved Pokemon Charizard just sold at auction for almost $88,000. So basically, somebody found it was like a flaming hot Cheeto, and it's looks like a Charizard. It's like a 3-inch long, almost exact replica of a Charizard. They called it a Cheetozard. They started preserving this back in 2018. So they've had this sitting there for 7 years, and they just sold it for almost $88,000. There were 60 bids on this item, and the winning bid was $72,000 plus a buyer's premium.
I actually knew about this story. My mom texted me and my little brother, who was a Pokemon player, and says, "Why didn't I have this?" And my little brother goes, quite literally, "Mom, we had a first edition Charizard. That card just sold for 6 figures, and you gave it away without asking me. You could have done this.
That could have been us.
In a bigger level."
Could have been us.
Here is a weird animal story.
Yeah, what do you got?
Out of Wisconsin. Woman spotted at McDonald's with a therapy kangaroo. What are you doing if you're the cashier with a woman walking in with a kangaroo?
A little freaked out. Not going to lie. A little freaked out. My update today is a shout-out to Montoya. Have you guys followed Montoya and his struggles from Spain in the last couple of weeks?
No.
He was on a show called Temptation Island, in which they have cameras everywhere, and you go with your significant other, and basically
it's them to cheat on
decide
each other,
if you
right?
want.
Yeah.
This guy had to watch his girlfriend get porked by a dude multiple times on camera and the reactions to it. But at the end of the show, in the finale, this guy became an internet sensation. Go watch the videos of him watching this. It's quite comical. In the end, he decides to leave his girlfriend at the end of the show. The girlfriend decides to leave the island with her temptation. The temptation left the island alone. So in the end, Montoya was the winner.
I don't know if anybody
What a
wins
update.
after watching that one. All right. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Well, Sprague spent his entire commercial break watching Montoya highlights. If you haven't delved into the Montoya controversy in Spain from the update there, there's
I
a
need
P
this
in
show
there.
in my life. I need to watch this, and I need it to stay in just Spanish.
The highlights are hilarious.
The Spanish makes it significantly better.
It just he's yelling. This poor bastard. This guy has become like a national punching bag for weeks now because of what's happened to him on this show. He ends up the big winner. So happy for Montoya.
I mean, he watched his
aftermath.
girlfriend hook up with somebody on
Yes.
television. I don't know if he is the big winner.
Thank you.
Well, she was.
But he did get her out of his life.
He got her out of his life. If she's willing to do that, so good for you there. And then she tried to leave with the guy. She wanted to leave with the Temptation. And the Temptation said, no, I'm not leaving with you.
I'm going to send you this
So she's
clip,
alone too.
Schultze, and I'm pretty sure there's no cursing. And
Spanish cursing. Do we know Spanish curse words off the top of our head?
I know a couple.
people
but
in
not
our
all of them.
audience might know it, but like just hearing it, you know something awful is happening, and that is the beauty of that language.
Yes.
You
can just
know
tell.
when somebody's been betrayed.
The
in
tone,
Spanish.
the way he's speaking, the yelling, the volume, all of it. You know, something bad's going down here. You know where else something bad is going down tonight? That is in Oklahoma City, where the Thunder have just simply decided, yeah, we don't care. They are.
Well, the Celtics kind of said that too, and then
They did.
Pritchard dropped 43.
That's
on
true.
us.
White and Pritchard both went for 40. So tonight, Portland is in Oklahoma City. This is the last game of the trip, right? Then they're back home
Knicks,
Sunday.
Against the
Knicks are coming up after the Pistons.
Yeah, Pistons and Knicks. And Sunday, by the way, is Bill Walton night.
Yes.
We get the Bill Walton
That
honoring
should be good.
on Sunday
I
evening.
really wanted to go to this game.
To the Sunday game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little. I schedule stuff. 6 o'clock is still totally fine. I just wish it was more of a 3 o'clock.
Earlier. I love the early Sunday games.
I do too. I'd love to be there. I don't know what the weather's going to be this weekend, but like walking into the Moda on a nice little sunny afternoon.
Yeah, the weather's supposed to be relatively nice this weekend.
I think it's going to be a great game. The Pistons are a lot of fun to watch if you haven't watched
Got
them.
the bucket drummers out there.
Get
Love
the Walton merch.
Yeah, feeling good. Get a tie-dye
Yeah.
T-shirt on. Well, Portland is in Oklahoma City tonight, and they have said, hey, Jalen Williams, not going to play.
Yes.
Hey, SGA, not going to play.
Yeah.
And the list continues. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, some of the guys have actually been injured.
Yeah.
They got 7 guys who are out of the lineup tonight. Chet Holmgren is listed as day-to-day. He's questionable for tonight's game. Likely not going to play either. I don't know if there's a further update on that, but that was the last that I saw. And so here we are, the Blazers going into another game. I saw the point spread last night, and I knew something wonky had to be happening. Because if I asked you going into this matchup, what would you say the spread should be? 10.5?
I'd say somewhere around there.
With a healthy Oklahoma City.
9.5 to 13.
Close to double digits,
Yep.
at least similar to what the Boston line was. And then I saw the line. It was like, I think as of last night, at one point, it was OKC minus 1.5. It's like, uh-oh, that's an issue. Right now, it's 2.5, 3, somewhere in that range. But they got a chance for a win tonight because OKC's playing nobody.
Yeah, they do have a chance, and they can be feisty. But also, we just watched one of the best teams in the league that when their role guys who are almost better than everybody on your roster play well, you can still get got.
7, 8, and 9 on their depth chart.
Their efficiencies have been insane. We've noted their defense and the jump it's taken. We had Habistro say like how it correlates to when Shaden got on the bench and all of that. They've already kind of shot themselves in the foot with lottery conversation. There's really no turning back to that. So, like, that's done to me. I'm just going to continue to try to see if Scoot can have good games. Shaden can keep this up.
Is Jeremy Grant back tonight? Because he's day-to-day and potentially back in the lineup tonight.
He's questionable.
He's questionable. So we'll see what that means for Shaden. Does Shaden go back to the bench?
We know the answer to that question.
Well, we'll
Yes,
see.
he will.
You could lose this game very well. But also, I more look at this game as like, let's see what happens. I'm just interested to watch what we are right now against the younger team who is the best team in the league.
That has every draft pick imaginable over the next 10 years.
This team got one of, if not the greatest trades in NBA history to happen to them. I would probably label it the Lakers got Luka, right? But
this is a different version almost of the Boston trade, where Boston didn't get the star player like they did with SGA, but Boston got all those picks that turned into the star players.
And so Oklahoma City got the MVP and all the picks.
Yep.
And every pick swap you see in the draft this year, somehow it goes to Oklahoma City. They're building this thing the best possible way you can. And I don't like the whole, just do it, build it like the Thunder. Like, nobody does that. You don't get the MVP who wasn't looked at as an MVP as a prospect.
Who's our SGA?
And then Tamani. And then all of these picks.
Right.
That doesn't happen to anybody. So I'm more just kind of interested in how the process has been going for Portland and then matching up, even though they're shorthanded, against the best team in the league. This is the best team in the league. You can like Denver more. You can like Milwaukee more because they've got star power. This is the best team in the league. And so even with these guys out, Portland could lose this game tonight. I just think it's a real mirror check of what you are right now versus what a younger team than you is right now.
Without 2 or 3 of their best players on top of it, too.
2 or 3 of their best players, yes.
NBA Dirt agrees with you in your assessment of this game, so I'll let that take slide. Here are some of the other games to keep an eye on tonight. If you are interested in the 10th seed in the Western Conference, for those keeping track at home.
Yeah.
Phoenix is on the road at Denver.
Yep. They could lose that game.
7.5 point spread in that one.
Dallas is
at home against Memphis. They are a 10.5 point underdog at home.
They're going to lose. Memphis needs to win this. They're trying to keep home court against Houston. They're only a couple games back of Denver right now. Yep. So Memphis is going to go all out for that one.
Sacramento is at home against San Antonio. Probably
Sacramento's
a win.
Been playing pretty decently. What are they? They're 7-3 in their last 10.
Yep.
And San Antonio, they got Fox, which I still liked. The Wemby thing has set them back quite a bit. So they're kind of more in the tank than even Portland.
The 2 primary ones to watch are obviously that Phoenix-Dallas game and the Phoenix-Denver game and the Memphis-Dallas game, because those two, Phoenix is still a half game or a game and a half ahead of you. Dallas is still 4 games ahead of you, despite the fact they've lost 3 in a row and they're 4-6 in their last 10. So that gap will shrink, but these are the kind of opportunities, like if you are a fan that says, hey, I want to make the play-in, let's lose our first-round pick this year. This sounds awesome. Dallas sinking like a stone is helpful, but also Oklahoma City playing. No, if Oklahoma City plays their guys tonight, you're not winning this game. You don't have no chance in hell of winning this game. But they're sitting a couple of their best players. They still could lose.
They hung with them when they were here last time.
I know they did. I know. It's different playing at home on the road.
But yeah, largely
sure,
it's different.
I'll give you a 3% chance at winning this game. I'm not going to overreact.
26-4 at home.
They're 51-11 on the season, okay? The Blazers are still 7 games below 500. I think the percentage chance of winning this one is very minimal.
You know the Cavs can still tie the Bulls. They won't, but you know the Cavs could still go 72-10.
Yeah. I mean, OKC, if they only lose, I mean, they got a chance too, right? Or no, 72-10. That's right.
11.
So the Cavs would have to win all of their... They've won 12 in a row. They'd have to win their final games in order to tie.
Can I ask you this quickly, because I know we're against it already? I'm kind of at the other side of the ping pong ball thing, because again, the odds have you shot yourself in the foot there. So I'm pivoting in any way I can from a day-to-day thing. Is there anything like is Zion possible? We visited that when they had the 3rd pick, and that clearly was fool's gold.
To find a running mate with Damian Lillard.
The Pelicans are a disaster.
They are.
And
what are you giving up to get him?
He doesn't seem happy. I mean, name your price. Did you give Shade and Ant first?
You do all that for Zion at this point?
I'm asking a question.
I don't know if NBA Dirt agrees with you right now. I think NBA Dirt might disagree with that one.
Okay.
It's just
you're not going to get Cooper Flag.
No, you're not going to get Cooper
Flag. You want
Flag.
Asa Newell or Zion Williamson?
I'm not. I'd be okay giving up Ant if you end up with the 14th pick in the draft this year.
Let's say they get. Yeah. I just think you have to play both sides of this. I think you have to look at the lottery, keep following the draft stuff, and I think you need to say they're not in a great position to get a proven franchise. And you could say, well, Tamani, Sprague.
Yeah.
They didn't draft Tamani.
No, they didn't.
They got lucky and desperation from Phoenix's end to get Tamani, which I was happy about.
Yep.
I'm flexible.
You're spitballing.
Much like Montoya's girlfriend on the island. I'm tempted both ways. Will I hook up with a trade? Or will I hook up with a rookie scale contract? I don't know.
Could go either way.
I don't know. He's been playing good basketball.
That he has.
And he looks a little ripped.
Oh, he's healthy again? He's no longer fat Zion?
Well, NBA Dirt would know this. He's been watching the Pelicans.
NBA Dirt is on time. I'm testing you and your knowledge of Zion and his fatness.
Just had a great triple-double. He's beefing with the Rockets. I mean, you know.
What's our porn star?
Vegan City Capital here.
Numbers looking like in Portland. Can we satisfy him? Can we make him happy?
Come on.
Yeah. We got some.
Vegan strip clubs.
We got a lot going on in the sports world this weekend, including a showdown in the NBA and in college basketball. We'll close up there. Get you set for the weekend next on The Fan.
The best basketball party
No quiero eso, quiero ir. Quiero ir a la playa,
por favor,
descansar.
Montoya.
Venga, lo voy a ver contigo, venga, vamos a ver lo que... Vale.
Un papa frita va a llorar. A la playa.
Qué vergüenza, papa frita, tú eres un mierda de persona. Te vas a arrepentir toda tu vida de esto. Disfruta, disfrútalo, disfruta. Me ha reventado por dentro. Me ha reventado por dentro.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
Yeah, I don't understand a word he's saying, but I just know it's not good. Something bad's happening to Montoya.
There's a man screaming in Spanish driving to his knees. Something heartbreaking is happening, man.
One of those scenes, he just runs into the ocean. See you later, Montoya.
They had to call him back. He wanted to run away.
Come back, please. You're on a TV show still.
Well done, Schulte. That was a good transition.
That was well done.
Really well done.
Look at you, Schulte. Well done, buddy. Well done.
Good job. Filling in for Swag. You're back next week, right?
Monday, possibly Tuesday. We don't know.
Swag's calling the ladies, Pilots ladies cricket game on Tuesday.
Because we're 9-10 host of women's Pilots basketball,
and then it's the
right?
Pilots badminton championships on Wednesday. So
we
he should be back on Thursday, I think. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Could be gone another week.
TBD. You never know.
He might be joining the pickleball team as an announcer. Who knows?
Have we had a scholarship team created yet? Because that sport did get pretty popular.
Pickleball had its moment. Is it still having a moment, or has it faded into obscurity?
Yeah, but
the
it's
way
for
it
older
should
people.
fade into obscurity.
It's not for the youngs.
I'm anti-pickleball.
It is for the youngs.
It's taking up tennis courts. We have to flop these things over now. It's not because the olds can't move the way that they want to.
Yeah.
The sound of pickleball is not an intriguing sound to me.
Really?
A wiffle ball hitting a wooden paddle.
You're anti-pickleball.
Just play wiffle ball. Why don't we bring wiffle ball back?
Because it's hard to hit a baseball?
Yeah, just do something challenging.
Okay.
Not a little 5x5 square. Pop, pop.
I mean, look,
Pop, pop.
I will tell you, as a former
Pop, pop.
tennis great at
The only
Parkhurst
guy
High
I know
School,
that plays pickleball is in his 50s.
tennis is the more supreme sport there, right? The higher ranking sport. Pickleball could be fun. No?
No, I'm out.
I got people asking me to go play pickleball.
Would you rather play badminton or pickleball? I think I'd rather play badminton.
Badminton. Hell yeah.
I'd rather play badminton.
Yeah,
if you invited me to a
I
day
do
on
like
the
some
beach to play badminton,
I like some badminton.
I'd way rather play badminton than
My
pickleball.
wife bought a badminton net one year thinking we were just going to
How often have you used that thing?
one time.
Well, especially knowing
It's too long.
knowing that what we're
It
hitting
takes forever to set up.
did,
It's,
yeah.
it's in the garage in
in
a corner.
badminton, it's called the shuttlecock that you hit back and forth.
That it is,
So
Schulte.
You don't
Thank
call it
you.
the birdie? Isn't
No,
it?
well, you can call it the
you
birdie.
can if you want to.
The
You can
official
call it
name
that.
is the shuttlecock.
So it didn't work in our backyard, so we had it in our front before we transformed our front. All the birdies went on the roof.
So I hit that
They
one
got
too
stuck
hard.
in the gutter. I had to go up there and
You
get
got to
like
get a
4
ladder
birdies
out. That was the last time you play badminton. Badminton's done.
Almost like that.
Anti-pickleball.
I'm anti-pickleball.
It's like that
Anti-pickleball.
Draymond Green commercial, missing shots. Your birdies are all up on the roof.
That is true.
Don't have your daughter as the one at the commercial shooting an air ball down a cliff.
What are we more excited for this weekend? The Lakers in Boston tomorrow night on ABC, or a battle of the state of Alabama, number 1 versus number 3, which I believe is tomorrow as well. Let me double check. Hold on. Give me a second. Wait. Noodling. Tomorrow at 11:30, you got Alabama versus Auburn. What's the more exciting game?
Blazers Pistons Sunday.
Ooh, Blazers Pistons.
I think
Game of the weekend?
I think it's going to be the game of the weekend.
Game of the weekend
The
because
Pistons
of Bill
are
Walton or
fun.
because of the Pistons?
Well, yeah, Bill Walton's a good
Combo?
part of that. The Pistons are a fun team. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised to watch the Pistons play, and they got a first-round matchup against the Knicks, who might not have Brunson.
For now. The
For
Knicks
now.
might get caught by somebody. You never know. NBA Dirt has spoken. That'll do it for us, folks. Hey, if you're sitting around tonight, got nothing to do, Friday night, hey, lounging around, 7 o'clock, turn on the C-Dub. Little local hockey. The Winterhawks just clinched a spot in the WHL playoffs, so now they're battling for seeding. The T-Birds are fighting for their playoff lives.
The T-Birds are usually pretty good.
The Seattle Thunderbirds, they're in a bit of a rebuilding stage, but they're trying to get the 8 seed in the playoffs, so it's a big one for them tonight.
Okay.
Portland, Seattle, 7 o'clock. On the C-Dub, baby. That will do it for us. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy all the sports. We will talk to you Monday at 6 a.m. Calling us next. Listening to 1080 The Fan.
I'm Rob Brown here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM Network, the best team in college basketball.